All right, now it is time for us to get to what we've been all waiting for all off season. For any of our live streamers that have been paying attention, we apologize. We had some technical difficulties, but we are back. We prevail, as we always do here at the Spoken Podcast. Now it is time for our third annual 2021 NFL Prediction Show. And we are going to start with my guy, Eddie, Mr. Yo, the man that is running the boards, the ones and twos here with us. Eddie, we're going to start in the NFC East, and I need you to give me from the bottom to the top. I'm talking worst to best in this division. We're going to start in the NFC East. How does your NFC East prediction look?
I fucked up. I'm going to admit it. I didn't do records.
He's holding my L.
I don't know. Just too much on my mind. I'll definitely have the records by the time we post this on social media right before the first game of the season. But for the NFC East, my number 4 is going to have to go to the Washington football team. Why is it going to the Washington football team? Because I believe they have no identity at quarterback. I don't think they have that quarterback that can lead them to multiple victories this season. I just don't think they're good at defense, yes, but they don't have the offense to compete with other teams and keep them. They probably have close games because of the defense, but I don't think this offense is going to be able to close any close games or anything like that. At number 3, I have the Cowboys. Why do I have the Cowboys at 3 in the NFC East? For the simple fact that I don't know how healthy Dak Prescott.
Yeah. They made a trade in the middle of the show.
Because I don't know how Dak Prescott, I don't know his health going into this season. It's been jumbles. It's been, nobody knows. Like you said earlier in the Monday mailbag, like they've been playing these games, so we really don't know how it's gonna shape up. They have a good offense out there, but if they don't have a quarterback that can lead that offense, it's not gonna do anything. Their defense probably worse the complete teams that I like in the NFC East. They're good at defense. They're good at offense. They're not great. I would say they're average to best compared to the whole league. And then at number 1, I do have the Eagles winning that division. I do think Jalen Hurts is going to come out and just fucking play lights out. I think he can lead this team to winning that division in the NFC East.
Trevor, how's your NFC East looking?
Much different. So, to bottom out the division, I have the Giants going 5-13. I don't like anything about this Giants team this year. Saquon's banged up to start the year. Could very well easily, and not wishing this on him, could very well easily re-injure himself. And if we're being honest, elite running back or not, it definitely is big for running back success in the season to be playing with the lead. That's when the running backs are most successful. That's when they can be utilized the most to run the game out, run the game away, and that's when he flourishes the most. Granted, he's great at catching the ball too and can play from behind and still put up numbers. I think he will have great numbers as long as he's healthy, but I don't like this team. This team improved, maybe got worse over these offs. I mean, I know they went and got Kenny Galladay, who I like a lot, is a good number 1 receiver, but it was also banged up still, and is also never healthy. So this team, and I'm not a believer in Daniel Jones whatsoever. I think he's a good athlete. I think he has some remnants of being a good playmaker at times, and is also good at sabotaging his own home run runs for a touchdown. One of the funniest highlights in NFL history in my mind. I just nothing coaching. Joe Judge. Say what you want about him. I think they could, but I think they're far away from being any kind of legitimately good team in the NFL, so I have them bottoming out the division. I don't have high hopes for them at all this year. I'm giving them 5 wins. And then right above them at the 3 spot, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. I like Jalen Hurts. I like his ability. I just don't. I mean, what is there to trust for this team right now? I mean, Miles Sanders has been a decently good running back at times, but has the drops. I think this team's going to be playing from behind a lot. I don't believe in this defense. This defense is falling apart. This team's getting older. They've had a lot of rotational guys coming in and out. There's not a true number 1 receiver there. The coaching's been shaky in my mind. The trust between the coaches and stuff with the weird Jalen Hurts pulling him out and all this. I think there's a weird relationship going on over there. I feel like Philly's a hot mess right now, to be honest with you. I like them. I like Jalen Hurts. I am a fan of him. I'm still I think the jury is out on he can actually be a good thrower in the football in the NFL. I don't know if he can throw the ball that well. He's one of those guys that's really athletic and can extend plays and is a great runner of the football, but outside of like making the nice deep pass when a guy breaks open, his intermediate passing and his actual skill and technique of throwing the football is definitely up, to be determined. I haven't been sold on him yet, but even though I do like him as a prospect, as a guy that could become something in this league, but I'm not sure of him yet. So I got Philly winning 6. I'm giving him 6 wins. I feel like that's a lot for me, Rise. 6-11 is a fairly good record for Jalen Hurts' first season as the starting quarterback for them. And then second place, I have the Dallas Cowboys. I'm giving the Cowboys 10 wins. They're going 10-7. There's just so much we don't know about the Cowboys. But one thing we do know is that it's one of the most talented rosters in the NFL, especially offensively. They have good players on the defense, but that defense has got a lot to prove from last year. Everyone was going in there they're just laying down, letting teams have their way with them. So I think a lot of pride is at stake here too, because that's a treasured franchise. I think Dak really wants to come out and prove himself, but I don't know about Dak's health, man. If Dak goes down, it's a wash. We saw what happened after that. And who do they have backing him up now?
We can see the Cowboys end fourth and
they absolutely could. Yeah. They could be easily at a flip of a switch if Dak goes down.
I don't know who their backup is, to be honest.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I am expecting a big year from Zeke. I think Zeke has a really big rebound year this year. That O line is better. They've improved the O line. I think a breakout year is imminent for CB Lamb. I love that kid. I think he's the true number one there over Amari Cooper. But I mean, you got two number one receivers, alpha receivers over there, Amari Cooper and CB Lamb, and I'm excited about that offense. I think they're going to put up numbers as they were when Dak was playing lights out last year. So I'm expecting fireworks from them, but I just don't. That doesn't always translate to wins, right? So you can have a great offense and not have it translate to wins. So I have them going 10-7, number 2, and number 1 I have Washington. I love this team going into this year. This defense is elite. This is not a good division right now. This is the perfect time for Washington, and they made the move. Say what you want about Fitzpatrick, he might be the most consistent quarterback in this division, and he's been a proven guy that can be consistent and put up great numbers and lead to wins. We've seen him on some not shitty, but okay Jets teams and put up big numbers over there, right? And this team is the best team he's ever been on. And now he has a legitimate. This is the best defense he's ever had to lean on in his entire career. I know he's a nomadic type of guy that's been on a lot of different teams, but when the time comes, Fitz has put up numbers and he's made some big clutch plays in his career. And he's got not Jalen Samuels. He's got what's his name, Curtis Samuel, and he's got what's the other receiver's name? Terry
McLaurin.
Terry McLaurin. I was drawing a blank on him. I always forget his name for some reason. 2 legitimate receiving threats. Logan Thomas in the tight end. He's got some good running backs over there. I think this team is going to be really good, man. I have them going 11-6. I love this team this year. One of the teams I'm actually the most hyped on and excited to watch and see what they do. So this division's up for grabs for me, and I think the one that stood out to me the most was Washington. I think they're the best well-rounded team. I think Fitz is going to have a good year. He's got a lot of weapons to work with, and I like Ron Rivera. I like Ron Rivera as a coach. I think he's gonna have fun with this offense, and I think he's gonna steer him in the right way. And I think they're gonna win 11 games.
So the NFC East is a big division for me because of the fact that I think there is so much uncertainty across the board. There is no team in this division that without question what they're going to bring to this season. This is one of the few divisions that have that issue. The worst team in this division, I think by far, and that is saying something, is the Philadelphia Eagles in my eyes. Trevor broke it down pretty well about how they have a lot of coaching issues. We don't know what their coach is going to be this season. We have no idea what their quarterback position is going to be like this year. I mean, their biggest highlight this offseason, or the biggest news that came out of Philadelphia positively, was them trading for Gardner Minshew, who's going to be their backup quarterback.
Who could play sometime this year.
Yeah, he looks like Billy Ray Cyrus. That's the biggest highlight they had this offseason.
They're incentivized to play him too. Yeah.
I think the Eagles are going to be fighting for that number 1 pick. I really believe that, and I have them actually going 1-16. If you look at their conference, if you look at their schedule now, you look at their schedule right now.
Yeah.
They have a very tough schedule, more than people are giving credit to, and that's saying something. Seeing they were a bad team last year, they have a pretty rough schedule. I don't believe in any side of their team as far as defense, offense. I think they're going to be tragic this season. They're going to be in some games because of division and the way they can play against their opponents and the opposition in those 6 games. I don't see them winning a single division game though. I think they're going to be in close games. I think they're going to try hard. Jalen Hurts, I give him respect. We still don't know what he's going to be. I do think Gardner Minshew is going to get some playing time, but does that make your team any better? No, I don't believe that, because the Jags were a one win team last year with him. I just don't see how it's going to get any better for him over in Philly. I have them 1-16.
Jesus.
The Giants are, I think, a disaster, but not as badly, because of the fact that I actually have a tad, and I mean a tad, more confidence at quarterback for them, because I think Daniel Jones is better than anything Philadelphia has currently.
Their defense is still decent.
Their defense is decent. Joe Judge is a decent enough coach to coach up a decent enough defense. However, their schedule is not going well for them either, if you look at it. I think that they have so many problems at offensive line because they did not get any better at offensive line. They had the worst offensive line in football last year, and Daniel Jones is a turnover machine. We don't know if Saquon Barkley is going to be 100% at any point this season.
Right.
Had a severe leg injury last year, and to rely on a running back and an offense in today's NFL is never a good recipe.
That's going to be trailing most games.
Yes, I think they go in 4-13 this year. That's how bad I think the Giants are going to be. And then in the second place of the division is the team that everyone's hyping up, and it's always getting people clicks, is the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys are relying so much on Dak Prescott, who's not recovering from one injury, but 2 injuries. And if you look at their backup plan, they don't have one. Their best quarterback behind Dak Prescott is Ben DiNucci. Who the fuck is Ben DiNucci? He sounds like a character on The Sopranos. I'm going to go ahead and say this Dallas Cowboys team, who's not going to be any better really on defense outside of maybe Micah Parsons, who's a rookie, might I add, that this was one of the worst defenses in the NFL. They're going to get better at linebacker, because Micah Parsons is going to be, I think, a really good player. But that's not going to be enough. Mike McCarthy, I have zero faith unless he has Aaron Rodgers throwing the football for him. We don't know what he's going to be other than an average at best head coach. There's too much pressure mounting from Jerry Jones. I think that although they came into this season feeling good about themselves with the whole Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones reconciling, and it feels so good and all this shit, this team is not good enough in my eyes. I think they get overhyped because they were on Hard Knocks. I don't think they have a great enough roster. They're going to be fun offensively if Dak stays healthy, but we don't know if that's going to happen. And I'm not going to put faith in his health this year. I think he'll try, but I don't have enough faith. I think they go 7-10 this year. Which leaves one team. Because Trevor and I echo these sentiments verbatim. I am huge on the Washington football team this season because of the fact that I think they have a potential defensive player of the year in Chase Young. They have a great young player in the defensive side named Jamin Davis, their rookie off the linebacker, who is super athletic, supremely athletic, can tackle all over the field and cover all over the field. Not to mention on the offensive side, I think they are extremely undervalued on offense, because we got to give Ryan Fitzpatrick a little credit here, man. He's not a great quarterback by any means, but he has been. There's a reason this dude's in the league this long and has played as much as he has for as long as he has.
He was leading Miami to the playoffs last year.
I was in high school when Ryan Fitzpatrick was playing football. I'm in my 30s, okay? So that tells you something about this guy. Teams trust him. He's not going to be the guy that throws for 4,500 yards and 40 touchdowns. But that's not what you're going to need when you have the best defense in the NFL. We saw a very similar approach from the San Francisco 49ers 2 years ago when they had an average quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo, a very solid run game, which the Washington football team will have with Antonio Gibson. And the fact that they have a proven head coach with Ron Rivera. You let your defense and run game do the job and let your quarterback stay out of the way and just not make a ton of mistakes and not cost you games, you're going to win a ton of games. This is going to be the best defense in the league. They added Curtis Samuel to the equation on the offensive side. That is a really good offensive line with Brandon Scherf at guard. I'm telling you right now, this Washington team is going to be messing around with some fools this year. I got them 12-5 this season, winning the division. Now moving to the NFC North, Eddie, how do you see it going from bottom to top?
All right, man. We all know. I'm sure we all can agree who the worst team in this division is, and that's the Detroit Lions. That is. I mean, I don't know who. No, yeah, that's easy choice on that.
Not a tough one there.
Yeah, the Lions are just garbage, defense-wise, offensive-wise. They traded their quarterback, their brand.
Got Jared Goff.
And now they got Jared Goff, a average quarterback at best, in my opinion. I'm sure there's going to be people out there that think otherwise, but in my opinion, he is an average quarterback at best. And number 3, I do have the Bears. Why do I have the Bears at number 3? Because I don't know, with the whole situation of Matt Nagy naming Andy Dalton as a starting quarterback and not knowing when you're going to start your rookie quarterback, if he's even going to get some playing time this year. And Matt Nagy's taking this season like if his ass was not on the line. I don't know why, but yeah, I see the Bears struggling this season because of the Matt Nagy's decisions coming into fruition. At number 2, I do have the Vikings. I mean, I like the Vikings. I like their quarterback, Kirk Cousins. He's a good quarterback. Obviously, you're not a big fan of Kirk Cousins, probably, but
Zimmer's a good coach.
As long as he's got
They
plexiglass around him, he'll be fine.
They have a good offense. They have a good defense. So I have them at number 2. Obviously, at number 1, I do have the Green Bay Packers. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to come out here and kind of prove the Green Bay Packers like in a way wrong. Kind of like, you're not trusting me. It's like, this is what you're not going to get anymore. So I think he's going to go out there and fucking play lights out. He's going to carry this team far. I think that the Packers are going to be a great team this season.
Yeah. So I'm with you on the Lions for sure. I think everyone is on board with that one.
That's gonna be bad.
I have them going 4-12, and that's probably being way too generous. Giving them 4 wins.
Well, there's a 17th game, so are you saying 4-13
or 4-13?
Okay,
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Just we're all still getting used to that whole new schedule. So
that was just typing error on my end from being up late last night, but filling this out. But yeah, not much to say about the Lions. I think they're just going to be one of those teams everyone knows. Whenever any opposing team sees on their schedule, like, okay, Mark has a W, and just move on. Yeah, like I just think they're that team. They're kind of like the Texans. Well, Texans are another team that'll be like that this year, but the Texans of last year are going to be the Texans of this year. So yeah, Lions. I got them. 4-13. That, like I said, being generous. Not much to add. There's not much to talk about on their end. Jared Goff. I mean, it is what it is. But yeah. Number 3, I have the Minnesota Vikings. I'll talk about both these teams at the same time. So I have the Vikings and the Bears with the same record. I have them both going 9-8. I think that both these teams are going to have their struggles and they're going to have like some hot streaks in the middle of the year. I like both of these rosters, but there's just so much, like with the Vikings. Their offense is going to be fun. I don't know how good their defense is going to be. Their defense was really bad last year. They were allowing way too much points, and I don't know if they're going. I know they got some new bodies.
Look promising on the last preseason game.
Yeah, they got Everson Griffin back, who's a good piece, good veteran guy to have. Knows the defense already. Comes in as ready made for that team. I like that move, but I just don't know what they're going to be. I don't know what they're going to be yet. And if you got to, if you got to consistently, if Kirk Cousins consistently has to trail and come back, that's you're just setting your team up for disaster because that's just not what he is. He's better at playing from ahead, having a good defense backing him. Granted, I love their offense. I love their pieces. I love Justin Jefferson. I like obviously their running back. Oh my gosh, I'm drawing too many blanks. Dalvin Cook, yes, elite top tier running back in this league. Can do everything. I like their team. I just don't believe in them getting it done. I don't believe in them consistently winning games. I think they're going to have some hot streaks, like I said. But I have them going 9-8. I have the Bears going 9-8. The Bears is the quarterback. I'm pretty sure we can all agree that there's going to be a quarterback change probably a few games into this season. Whether Dalton gets hurt or Dalton is shitty, week 1 I think is against the Rams. Against the Rams. So I mean Dalton's got a rough start, these first few games of the schedule for them. So I think they're going to start off really slow. They'll hit their stride, but I think they're going to hit their stride, with Justin Fields.
I just don't think
I'm a believer in Justin Fields. I think he should start day 1. I think Justin Fields has that it factor. He was my favorite quarterback coming into this draft. He was my Trey Lance for Lance. That's my guy in this draft. I love Justin Fields. I think he's the future for that franchise. I think they have their guy, and I think they should start him, but they want to, throw it out there. This is Andy Dalton's time, according to him. So, and I think they're going to start off really, really slow and have to play a lot of catch-up. So I have them finishing 9-8. And then the Green Bay Packers, man. I mean, diehard Aaron Rodgers fan here. I will say I have them winning this division. Obviously, I have them going 11-6. I have them losing 6 games because I think they're going to have some struggles kind of in the beginning of the season, to be honest with you. I think having Bakhtiari out for, 3 or 4 games at least. I think he's out for almost a handful of games. That's big. I mean, granted, Aaron Rodgers still put up great numbers, But winning games and putting up great numbers are two different things. Aaron Rodgers is always going to put up good numbers. His touchdown to interception ratio is always going to be all time. But winning games is a different thing. And I don't know about this defense yet either. This defense looked good at times last year, but are they going to improve and take that next step this year? That would be huge from them if they did. But if Aaron Rodgers has to consistently play hero ball, that doesn't always translate to wins. So I like them a lot. I have them winning this division. I have them going 11-6. But Bakhtiari, losing an elite left tackle like that is going to have its effect on the game. So I think that's going to translate to 6 losses for them. 11-6, I have them winning the division.
Well, once again, I'm a lot closer to Trevor's thoughts on this than Eddie's. But hey, you know what? We got a lot more division to get to, Eddie. So we might be able to, get a little closer.
Need variance. We need variance.
So this division is going to be a lot of fun because of the fact that I think it's actually surprisingly going to be a 2-team race for the majority of the season. And the Lions are not going to be in that race, by the way. I don't care how many knees Dan Campbell gnaws on this year. It's not going to translate to wins. They're not going to be eating a lot of W's. Maybe knees, but not a lot of W's. In fact, the only 2 wins I have the Lions winning this year are against the Eagles, who I just told you guys a little bit ago they're going to be maybe the worst team in football.
Fight for the first pick.
And then the final week of the season against the Packers when they lock up their playoff spot. I'm not going to tell you how or when, but I do have the Lions being by far the worst team in this division because they just do not have any depth whatsoever. I like Swift at running back. I don't,
Swift.
But again, as we talked about, guys, when you're relying and banking on a running back to carry you're not just your offense but your team, that usually is a recipe for disaster unless they have a 2012 Adrian Peterson type of season.
I like TJ Hawkinson a lot too.
Hawkinson's a really good player, but again, it comes down to an overpaid and overrated Jared Goff leading that offense. I just don't like this team at all.
At least we have that in common.
Yes. So there you go. There's a positive, Eddie. Yeah. So we got a 2-15 Lions team in my bracket. And then, look, man, I think there's something to be said about this season with players that are choosing to not get vaccinated and how that's going to ultimately cost their team at least 1 or 2 games. And I think that's what's going to happen with the Vikings this year because Kirk Cousins is not budging off of it. And I don't want to make this into a vaccination conversation, but it plays its part into this equation. You like how I put that in there? So I think this is going to play a fact because the Vikings are a talented team. They have a good offense. They have a good offensive line. Kirk Cousins is a top 15-ish quarterback in the league.
He's consistent, yeah.
He's had like 9 straight seasons of 20 touchdowns. And I mean, that's incredible.
He's like the DeMar DeRozan of the NFL.
Dalvin Cook is an elite running back in this league when he's healthy. And Adam Thielen's a damn good receiver. So they have a good offense. Their defense is always going to be solid because Mike Zimmer knows how to coach up defenses. But the problem, again, is I think that they're going to have some games where they could have won or probably should have won. They're not going to win because they probably won't have Kirk Cousins and a couple key players throughout the season. And I just think that because of the fact they have a few primetime games this season, and we know how Kirk Cousins plays in primetime, which is not well at all outside of that one Saints playoff game, I think they're going to have a lot of losses this season, unfortunately. I think this is going to be the last year they have Kirk Cousins and Mike Zimmer. I'm going to say the Vikings finish 7-10. And then we have a team that I am bigger on than a lot of people, and it's because of the fact that I think Justin Fields is the truth, but not just that. It's because of the fact that I think Justin Fields is going to play very early this season. Matt Nagy's not an idiot. He's stubborn, but he's not an idiot. And he knows that Justin Fields has to play, and he has to play early. I know he made promises to Andy Dalton, but think about the setup perfectly. It's perfect for the Bears. Their first game is in LA against the Rams.
Yeah.
They're going to get creamed in that game.
Sacrificial lamb.
They're going to get absolutely creamed because Andy Dalton is starting, and he's going to play like dog shit. Aaron Donald is going to destroy him all night long. It's going to be an embarrassing display where the Bears fans are saying, and more importantly, the owner is going to come out and say, you got to play the kid. And it's perfect to have him transition from week 1 to week 2 because they play the Bengals at home the next week. Yeah. So this is a perfect setup for the Bears to do this. And I'm going to go as far as...
You think Andy Dalton plays one game?
One game.
Starts one game?
Plays one game this season. Plays one game and they move to... Because it's going to be that... It's going to be that bad. It's going to be that bad.
I hope that happens as Justin Fields guy, but yeah.
I think this is how he covers his ass by saying, hey, look, I gave Andy the opportunity. He got destroyed, and we're moving to the big guy, Mr. Justin Fields. I think that's think about it. The Texans did the same thing a couple years ago with Deshaun Watson when they played Tom Savage for like one quarter, and they moved to Deshaun Watson.
Everyone knew that was bullshit, though.
Everybody knows this is bullshit. Everybody knows this is bullshit too. My point is, and this is a prediction within the prediction. I have, as soon as Justin Fields going in, I have them winning 5 of 6 games down the stretch because this roster is just missing a quarterback.
Oh yeah, Darnell Mooney breakout season.
This is one of the 3 best defensive teams in the league. Yeah. Literally, one of the 3 best teams in the league defensively. They have Allen Robinson and Montgomery on the offensive side.
Darnell Mooney
Kyle Mooney, yes, don't sleep on
Darno.
that kid. You get Justin Fields. Now, their offensive line's a little shaky, but I think
That
with Justin
defense?
Fields' creativity, I think you're going to get a team that is going to be a good team. In fact, I have them in the playoffs. I have the Bears at 10-7. And then,
Nice.
obviously, I think the class, as long as Aaron Rodgers is there, and Matt LaFleur, who I think is a very good coach. I don't know if he's a great coach yet,
He's
but
up and coming.
back-to-back 13-win seasons.
Absolutely.
We've seen Aaron Rodgers overrate some coaches with Mike McCarthy. Okay, we've seen that in the past.
Yeah.
I think that this is still the class of the division, but it's going to be close throughout the year. They have a tough schedule. To Trevor's point, David Bakhtiari is going to be out for some time, and he's maybe the best left tackle in football when he's healthy. I think that is going to cost the Packers some games in the early
he's
part of
filling
the
as a
season.
rookie.
Yeah, he's gonna have they're gonna have some problems early in the season, which is gonna make this race a little close between them and the Bears. Because like I said, the Bears I think are gonna win 5 of 6 when Justin Fields goes in.
Man, I hope, dude. All I hope is I want to see Justin Fields versus Aaron Rodgers in those matchups. That would be such good.
I think that's
football.
what's going to happen. But I think that the Packers start catching heat at the end of the season because they're going to get healthy as the
As
season
they normally
progresses.
do.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think they win this division by 2 games. I have the Packers actually at 12-5. So they go from back-to-back 13-win seasons to a 12-5 season.
Not far off.
with
You have the
extended
Bears
game.
winning one more game than I have, and you have
Yeah.
the Packers winning one more game than I have.
So that's how I have my NFC North going. So now moving to the NFC South, Buccaneers City, or Buccaneers Town, if you will. But some people might feel a little bit differently about the Buccaneers this year. But nevertheless, Eddie Ortiz,
Tampa Bay, baby.
what do we got going on the NFC South?
All right, man. Number 4, I'm gonna have to put the Falcons. Why am I putting the Falcons at number 4?
Why?
They just don't have it.
Yeah.
They don't have a team. They just lost Julio Jones to the Titans. That was their best receiving option in that team. Matt Ryan has nobody. I mean, I don't think he's gonna have like the Julio Jones connection he once had anymore with one of the receivers. But I don't see him winning a lot of games this year. I really don't. I have a hard time believing that the Falcons are gonna even get above 5-6 wins.
Yeah.
So I got the Falcons at number 4. Above them, I do have the Panthers. I think it's going to be a great season. Seeing Sam Darnold out there, try something different, something new. I really like Sam Darnold, but I think him getting used to a different team, different culture, I think it's going to affect him in this first season there. They have a great receiving team out there. They have a good defense. Obviously, the running back with Christian McCaffrey. I just don't think there's enough with Sam Darnold still trying to learn and adjust to the new system. At number 2, I do have the Saints. I believe in Jameis Winston. I have faith in him. I think he's gonna take these Saints further than what people expect. I think they're gonna be a good team this year. I think Jameis Winston is the truth with the Saints. And number 1, I obviously had the Bucks. They had the same team come back from last year. A lot of people say it's like, well, they had good certain situations landed perfectly for them to make it to. I just think with the Super Bowl hype and all that stuff, and then obviously Tom Brady coming back and same team coming back, same roster. They added a few pieces here and there, but overall, I think this team's the best team in the NFC South.
All right, so yeah, I'm with you on the Atlanta Falcons. I like them. They're similar to me. They're not as good as the Cowboys, but they're similar to the Cowboys in like the sense that they're going to be a fun team. They're going to be a fun team to watch. I think Calvin Ridley is absolutely an elite receiver in this league. I think he has all the tangible things that you need. I'm not saying he is yet, but I think he has the trajectory of his career. You just watch him run routes. He's so fast. He's a smaller guy. He's similar to Tyreek. He's a little taller than Tyreek, but I love watching him play, man. He's like kind of like a Tyler Lockett guy, but in my mind, he's better than Tyler Lockett. I think he has elite capabilities in this league. His ball tracking, his catching, everything. He's fun to watch, and I think he's going to have an absolutely huge year this year. They did draft Kyle Pitts, who I love as well, who fits into this mold in this offense so well. I think Matt Ryan's got himself a couple really good targets there. I just don't think that's going to translate to a lot of wins for them. Matt Ryan's getting older, even though Matt Ryan is still putting up numbers, and I think he's going to have good numbers again this year. That defense is just bad. They were struggling, just even looking somewhat even competitive at home games last year. They were horrible last year, so I don't think they got that much better. I think offensively there's going to be some fireworks. They're going to be a fun team to watch. They're going to be trailing every game, so they're going to have to score points. So in that sense, fantasy-wise and all those things, it's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be fun to have them on your team or whatever. But as far as in real-life football, yeah, it's just not going to be not going to translate to a lot of wins for them. So I am giving them 5 wins. I think they have a good enough offense to get some wins. So I'm giving them 5. They're going to go 5-12. And then right above them, I actually have the Saints at the 3 spot of this division. I love Jameis Winston. I just don't love this team this year. I think he's going to have numbers. Marquez Callaway is his number 1 receiver. He looked cool. He looked good in the preseason. I mean, they have 2 tight ends down. He likes to depend on the tight ends a lot too. But Marquez Callaway is your number 1 receiver. We don't know if Michael Thomas is ever going to return to this team. The relationship is damn near broken between them. He pulled the Scottie Pippen. He chose to get the late off-season surgery, so he knew that he was going to miss games because of that, because he waited to get the surgery. It was just a strange aura. And then they're also going to have to sacrifice, I think, the first 5 home games of the season. They're all going to be on the road. So granted, that could set them up later in the season to have a lot of home games as the home stretch goes on towards the playoffs. I'm not going to buy into Jameis year 1 with this team, not having a real legitimate. I mean, he's got Alvin Kamara there, no doubt. But is this defense? I think this defense is going to take a step back this year. They were really good last year, but I think this defense is going to take a step back. They don't have the leadership of a Drew Brees. They have the gunslinger that is Jameis Winston, which will be fun to watch. But I don't think they're going to win as many games as some people are thinking. I have them going 9-8, which I think is fair. But I just don't. Yeah, I don't think they're going to be the juggernaut. And the sacrifice in the home games is going to be a weird balance for them this year. I think there's just going to be a lot of things surrounding them that is going to be a distraction in my mind. And my dark horse team of the year this year is the Carolina Panthers. I just love everything that's going on. There's been all good vibes around them. He's got Christian McCaffrey in my mind, who's the most versatile running back in this league. Can literally do everything. You got DJ Moore, who I think is an emerging star in this league. And then they just extended Robbie Anderson, who I like a lot, who can do everything. He's a speedster, is a sure-handed guy, good ball tracker guy, deep threat guy, fast as hell. I think this offense is going to be electric this year, and I love Sam Darnold this year. I think Sam Darnold is my dark horse quarterback, and this is my dark horse team because of that. I think this defense is going to be improved. Not good, but I think it'll be like a middling top 18 defense or so. I like this team, man. I think they're going to be a good home team this year. I think the fans are hyped for them this year. They just got so many weapons, and I just think in this division they could take advantage of a Falcons team that's not good and a Saints team that's in transition. So that's my dark horse team, the Carolina Panthers. I think they're going to win a lot of games this year. I have them winning 10. I think I have them going 10-7. I have them winning double-digit games this year. I'm excited about them. And then the Bucks. Look, man, this is maybe the most loaded roster in the NFL. Them and the Chiefs, it makes sense why people are so hyped up on both these teams this year because they brought back everyone. And then they brought back, OJ Howard's healthy. He's not out for the whole season pretty much like he was last year. That gives them another tight end to have out there alongside Gronk. Antonio Brown's back, another off, and they had an actual offseason, to get everything, fluid. There's just so many weapons offensively. They brought over Gio Bernard, who's the perfect guy for Tom Brady. A good dink and dunk guy. He can play that James White role. And then this defense is just totally stacked, man. They brought everybody back. This defense is a championship-winning defense. We saw it last year. They just wreaked havoc on our O-line and Patrick Mahomes. I think that's going to translate to a lot of wins. As stacked as this NFC is overall, I think the Tampa Bay are the top dogs. I have them going 13-4.
I like the Arthur Smith acquisition by the Falcons, being an offensive coordinator for the Titans for the last couple of years.
They're going to be fun to watch.
They're going to be a fun team to watch. That defense, though, is going to be just as bad, if not worse, this time around than last season. They were one of the worst. I think they actually had the worst third down defense in the entire NFL. Yeah. They just could not get offenses off the field. They couldn't get a lot of pass rush. They just really, really struggled, and I don't see that really changing. But I do think their offense is going to be fun. I think Matt Ryan's going to have another prolific season because he always seems to put up 4,300 yards and 25, 30 touchdowns a year. He's going to be efficient. Calvin Ridley's going to have an All-Pro year. I'm gonna be with Trevor. I think Calvin Ridley really breaks out this year.
Yeah.
He had a really good season last year, but it's gonna be, you're gonna tell they're gonna miss Julio Jones at times though, because he's so great that you just have him off the field. You move on from one year to the next. I don't think that their offense is just gonna catch a stride without him. You're gonna see the struggles, and they don't have a great run game at this current time, which is something Matt Ryan's always been able to have good running backs through his career. He doesn't have that right now, so they're gonna struggle offensively and defensively, but more defensively than offensively, and I just don't think they're good enough to, at least now. I do believe in Arthur Smith, but I don't think they're going to be great this year. I have them at 5-12. In third place, I wanted to buy into the Panthers like Trevor did, because I think they are going to be exciting this season. I think Matt Rule, I believe in Matt Rule. This division, just for the record, has some of the best, I think, young coaches in the league right now. I think that you have two really good, like, proven guys that have done good at a young age to this point.
They were competitive with Teddy B last year.
Yeah.
Man. I think if you get the intangibles of Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold's going to be really good. Here's my biggest issue with the Panthers. Their schedule is not that difficult, so they could win double-digit games if everything goes right. The problem is always this, guys, is we know that in order to get to double-digit wins, you got to have a reliable, either an all-time great quarterback and or a reliable offensive line. They have neither. Sam Darnold's going to have a decent season, but their offensive line sucks. They have a terrible offensive line. In fact, it's so bad that Cam Irving, y'all remember Cam Irving? Yeah, he's our starting left tackle. And I like to call him Interstate 75. Like, the only thing he really did here in Kansas City besides get other people hurt was somehow appearing on every Super Bowl picture the Chiefs had when they won the Super Bowl against the 49ers.
It helps that Sam Darnold's mobile, though, too.
I'm just saying, though,
He's
now
mobile.
They will have McCaffrey back. I think he's going to have a big season.
Yep.
I think he's going to play really well, but he's going to do a lot of things that I think aren't going to translate to wins. I think he's going to be fun. I think this team's going to be fun. They have a lot of young talent on defense, which means that usually it takes a couple years to really get that going. They drafted all defensive players, so they're trying to get that defense back up. I just think they're a year away. They're going to be in a lot of games. They're going to lose a lot of games. I have them at 6-11 this year. The Saints are a team that at first I was kind of buying into because of the fact that I felt like with that home field advantage, and we know that place gets ruckus as hell. That Saints Dome gets ruckus. And the fact they're finally going to have a quarterback that, although will turn the ball over more than Drew Brees does, he's able to make plays that Drew Brees could no longer make with his arm. Jameis is going to be fun this year. I don't know if he's going to be great, but I think he's going to be good because Sean Payton knows how to coach up a quarterback. And I think this is a good challenge for Sean Payton as well. The ultimate problem for this team is, one, they don't have a ton of depth offensively. Michael Thomas is going to be out for at least the first half of the season with that injury that he decided, like Trevor said, Scottie Pippen his way off the team. If he doesn't get traded by that point, by the way, he might get traded. They don't have enough offensive firepower. I stick with my principle that when you rely on a running back, your team's not going to usually bode well. They're going to rely so heavily on Alvin Kamara this year to do what he does. He will do it, but it ain't going to do well for them in the long run. Defense is still very sound, but it's not going to be great this season. And the fact they're going to miss probably the first portion of the season without home games. They're going to play in Jacksonville and maybe Houston, places like that. They're going to be bouncing around. That's not going to go well for a team that's going to be relying on the home crowd, which isn't going to be there. I think they're going to fight as the season goes down, but they're not going to be good enough to make the playoffs. I have them at 8-9. Which leaves the team that I think is the most common sense in this division. No one's speculating on this team having a true struggle to win this type of division, which is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The hang-ups for me with the Buccaneers, and I don't need to give them praise because everybody knows they brought back all 22. They have Bruce Arians back. They still have Tom Brady. The issue for this team is that they have one of the older rosters in the league, which means that you're not going to be able to just pencil in health the entire season. And the fact that last season, everything went really well for the Buccaneers. I mean, it perfectly aligned for the Bucs to get to where they ultimately got. I don't foresee that being the case throughout the season for them, and I don't see them having as much health as they had last season. I think that you're going to start to see some of the age progress for some of these guys, and it's gonna ultimately hurt this team. But I do expect them to be a double-digit win team because their schedule is actually one of the easier in the league. They got the Falcons twice, they got the Panthers twice, and they're going to have the struggling Saints twice. That alone is going to be easy for them. I have them at 11-6 winning this division. And to wrap up our NFC division predictions, Eddie, we have the NFC West, and holy shit, is this going to be a packed division?
This is the best division of football.
This is fucking hard. This one and the AFC. What is it? The AFC South was kind of easier this year. I think the NFC West took the AFC East title this year.
So how do you have the NFC West shaking out then?
At number 4, I'm gonna have the Cardinals. I just think their coach. Kingsbury, he's a good head coach. I just don't comparing to the other 3 head coaches in this division is kind of hard. So I'm gonna have the Arizona Cardinals at number 4. It's not that they don't have the quarterback or the talent to be a number 1, 2, or 3.
They just happen to be in this division.
They just happen to be in this fucking stacked division.
Yeah.
So my safer bet for me, I think it was putting the Cardinals at number 4. At number 3, I do have Seattle. The Seahawks. I think they're gonna be good this year. They're gonna be a good team. I just don't know how much the O-line is going to be able to protect Russell Wilson. Is the head coach actually going to let him be free this season? I don't know. It's a bunch of questions with the Seattle team, but they have the roster to compete. They have the roster to be up there, so they can easily be like I said, 1, 2, 3, or 4 in this division. As on my number 2 team, I do have the 49ers. I am a huge believer of Trey Lance, just like Trevor out here.
Oh, give me that one. That's my guy. Trevor's more on the Justin Fields. Yeah, I'm the Trey Lance guy.
You're Trey Lance.
I'm the Trey Lance guy.
Trey Lance. My bad. My bad. No, but
I like him though.
I'm with Lance. With Trey Lance being the truth. I think he's gonna do wonderful things with this 49ers team. I don't see Garoppolo seeing the field at all this season. I don't think he's even going to start the season. I don't know.
That's okay. I like that take.
I see Trey Lance being their quarterback, their guy, and I see this 49ers pretty solid. My number 1 pick is obviously the Rams. The Rams were a quarterback away last year from doing big things. I think Jared Goff held them back in the playoff game against Seattle. We all seen it. And also he was dealing with a finger injury, I believe. So you add both of those, it's kind of like, well, yeah. But the roster of the Rams is unbelievable. Sam Darnold's gonna have a fucking amazing
Aaron Donald, yeah.
But Aaron Donald's gonna have an amazing year. He's gonna be eaten. He's gonna be eaten this year. I think Matt Stafford's going to have a great year with the Rams with that offense that they have out there, with Sean McVay being who he is, So I think this is going to be a fun team to watch this year.
Yeah, I'm just going to start off by saying I have 3 teams making the playoffs out of this division in the NFC. NFC West is so loaded. It's, Arizona Cardinals is the worst team in this division. I don't think anyone's going to argue that. Granted, they'll have good moments, and they have an electric quarterback and probably the best receiver in the league. We saw it last year. They had a lot of those same guys last year, and it just wasn't translating to wins. They have good defensive players, Budda Baker, but I have them going 6-11. I don't believe in them this year. I just don't. Granted, they're in this division as well, but just overall football, I just think I didn't like what I saw from Kyler in the preseason. Granted, it's preseason, but I didn't like his attitude. I think there's just some bad vibes going on around there in Arizona right now. They don't have a true running back. Kyler is kind of their main running back. I think he had 12 rushing touchdowns last year. That will not last. He's a small guy. If he continues to run the way he is, he's not going to have a long career. And I love Kyler. I love his ability to throw the football. He's definitely got a good spin on his throw. He's an undersized guy, but if he keeps trying to be that Superman guy, he's going to catch one bad lick, and it's going to be lights out for him at certain times. So I think he needs to be careful with that, and I think they understand that. I think they're going to try to keep him in the pocket more. But if you try to take away certain parts of his game, maybe he doesn't like that. Maybe there's. I just have bad feelings around this team this year. I don't think they're going to do much. I think they're going to win 6 games. I have Seattle in the 3rd spot as well. This was a tough division, man, to go through the wins and losses. I have Seattle in the third spot in this division, winning 11 games. That's how good this division is in my mind. I have them going 11-6. I love this team. This defense is still not good to me, though. I think Russ is going to have to cook all year long to keep this team afloat, and I think it will translate to wins because Russ is that great, and he's got great offensive weapons.
So pretty much more of the same in Seattle.
Yeah, it's just, but I mean, they shot themselves in the foot though last year by trying to go super run heavy in the middle of the year. Russ was going off in the first 5-6 games of the year, and then they wanted to flip it on its head and try to play a whole different type of offense and just run the ball 50 times a game. And Russ is like, dude, just let me do what I do. And when Russ is doing what he does, it's your best bet, right? I mean, Chris Carson, I love him as a running back, but he can't stay healthy. He's a true workhorse, but he never finishes a season. So I think they need to find a more balanced attack, and I think they will. I think this team is one of the most well-coached teams in the NFL, one of the best home field advantages in the NFL. Russ is a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. I believe in this team. I believe in this roster top to bottom for the most part, especially offensively. They're electric. They're going to win 11 games. San Fran is my number 2 spot. I don't really know. There's a lot in question for me. I think Garoppolo is going to lose his job at some point this year. I think it's going to be more towards the middle of the season instead of early on. There was a lot of questions I had for Trey Lance when I watched him. I like his abilities, especially his ability to extend plays with his legs. He's electric with his legs. He's got an absolute cannon for an arm. His strength is unreal. Look like Brett Favre out there throwing these lasers. But his accuracy is a little off to me in my mind. He's not the most accurate guy. He's very deadly when it comes. He finishes plays when they get in the red zone. He'll find a way to score. That's the intangibles. That's what Garoppolo doesn't have. But at this time being, Garoppolo is the safer option. You guys know I'm not a fan of Garoppolo. I think he's trash. But I think Kyle Shanahan likes him. I think they're boys. I think he's going to start this year for probably, I think, the first 8 games. I'm saying 8 to 9 games as before Trey Lance really gets a shot. And I think it's going to take some kind of injury for Garoppolo. Because Garoppolo wins games, guys. He does. I'm not saying he's the key contributor, but they win a lot of games with him. He took him to the Super Bowl. They win games with Garoppolo, and I think Shanahan likes him. And I don't know if he believes that Trey Lance is ready yet. Granted, you don't typically draft a quarterback in the first round not to start him at some point in this first year, especially with the guy that has the talent that Trey Lance has, and I think could be an absolute stud in this league. But I don't know if they want to take that risk yet. Because if they start, 4-1, 5-1 to start the year, and they're winning games with Garoppolo, why would you take him out? Why would you? And I don't think Shanahan would sabotage himself and take that risk at that moment. Because Shanahan has a safe type of offense that he runs. He funnels a lot of his offense through his running backs and tight ends. And that is a safe way to go about it. And if Garoppolo can orchestrate that offense, I don't think they're going to take him out as soon as you think. And Trey Lance is not healthy right now. He has that chip in his finger right now, the little bone chip in his finger. That's going to definitely keep him out. That's going to at least stifle his ability to get in there and take that spot. But if Garoppolo gets hurt, which is definitely possible too, I think Trey Lance is the best guy to come in and fill that spot and take that team. And he will take that team to the next level if he does get that chance. I fully do believe that. But I think Garoppolo is going to start longer than people think. I have them going 11-6, same record as the Seahawks. It's going to be a tight race in this division. I do believe that. But at the first spot, I do have the Rams winning just one more game than those two teams, going 12-5. I love the Rams this year. They are my favorite team in the NFC. I know they don't have as many wins on the wins-loss column as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but I like them better than Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year. I love Stafford in this offense. I think Stafford's going to absolutely unlock this offense. This offense has been great with Jared Goff. Jared Goff was great in this offense. We saw them have maybe my favorite football game of all time against the Chiefs in 2018. 2018. That was probably my favorite football game of all time that I actually watched live. It was unbelievable. It was fun. Granted, we lost it. It was still one of the most fun games I've ever seen in my life. And that was Jared Goff. I can only imagine what Matthew Stafford is going to do with his ability to extend plays with his legs, rocket arm, finding these guys downfield. Tyler Higbee at the tight end, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp. This granted, they don't have a true running back. Henderson, I think, is their guy right now, but they did just sign Sony Michel, which is a sneaky, really good signing for them. Good O-line, great defense. This team is set up for success year one. And it's not like Matt Stafford's a guy that's going to come in here and not know how to play football, or some rookie they're depending on. This is an aged veteran who's one of the best arm talents we've ever seen in the league. Can he stay healthy? That's the question. But I love this team. I had them going 12-5 and winning this division.
Trevor and I were almost lockstep again. Things got a little interesting at the end. But look, I think we all can agree. Well, I don't know, Eddie. I don't know if you had finishing last. I think it was the Cardinals as well. That's where I stood on it the entire offseason. Not just because of the obviousness of Cliff Kingsbury being unproven at this league. I think he was extremely overvalued coming into this league just because of his association with Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, he had a losing record in college. I can't imagine that he was just going to all of a sudden turn a new leaf in the NFL, which is a much tougher league to win in, to all of a sudden become this prestigious head coach. I never really bought into Cliff Kingsbury, to be honest. I think they really jumped the gun on that hire, and I think that's going to continue to prove itself. Kyler Murray, although is fun, undersized, undermanned, doesn't have enough talent around him on this offense, to be honest with you, to really justify giving him a lot of faith to turn the corner. Just from an individual perspective, he had a really good season last year, but we saw deficiencies.
Off last year.
We saw there were games where he looked really bad.
Yeah.
He was really inaccurate a lot of times. He had a tight spiral, and it's fun to watch him play because it looks like me out there in my height. But it sometimes looks like it overwhelms him, and I think that's going to continue this year. It's so fitting that a team that plays in the desert where most people go to retire has a team this old. It's one of the oldest rosters in the entire NFL. I know J.J. Watt's an all-time great, first ballot Hall of Famer. Yeah. I know that A.J. Green's had some really good runs throughout his career, but he's injury-prone. This is an old team, man. They're relying on a lot of old players to really turn the tide for this team as well, and I just don't know if I can give them full faith, and I don't think they have enough to give me this confidence they're going to win double digits. They're not, but I'm a little bit higher on them than Trevor is. I actually think they're going to go 8-9 this season, and that's where I'm going to have them at the last place of this division. But that's saying something when your last place team wins 8 games to for the entirety of the season. And then third place, this might shock a few people, man. I'm actually going to have the Seattle Seahawks with Trevor as well. Yeah, so all three of us have that as well. Third place, Seattle Seahawks, because of the fact that I'm not sure they got better this offseason. And this is a team that usually wins this division. This is a team that consistently is at the top of this division. I don't think they got better, and I think Trevor was right about the fact that so much is hinging upon Russell Wilson. This offensive line, although outside of Dwayne Brown, isn't that great. He's going to have to scatter around, try to create plays. DK Metcalf's a star. He's going to probably turn into a superstar this season if he has another great year. They're going to be fun. The Seahawks are always going to be fun. They have insane home field advantage, but the defense outside of Jamal Adams and Bobby Wagner, there's more questions than answers. And I'm going to say that although they're going to be a playoff team, and I'm with you, Trevor, I think there's 3 playoff teams in this division. I think Seattle's the worst of the 3. Yeah. And I think they finish at 11-6 as well. So I'm going to 100% agree with you on that. All offseason, the moment I heard that Matt Stafford was coming to the Los Angeles Rams, I knew this was going to be a Super Bowl contender. Sean McVay is an absolute genius. I'll say it right now. This dude is stupid smart. And I think he's a damn good head coach. And I think he is for real. This defense is going to be one of the 5 best defenses in the league because until Aaron Donald falls off, they're always going to be up there. Oh, yeah, and by the way, they have Jalen Ramsey as well, the best corner in the league, still in his prime. This is going to be a great team this season. They have good enough weapons on the offensive side to make things what they are on this offense. Matt Stafford's going to elevate this offense and make them far greater than what they were with Jared Goff. And like Trevor said, this was an awesome offense to begin with. Now you're adding one of the 7-8 best quarterbacks in the league to this day, who leads the league in comeback victory since 2010, might I add. Yep. That's going to take this team to another level. I have them actually finishing second in this division at 12-5. Imagine being 12-5 and finishing second in your division. That's got to piss you off because of the fact that I am so absolutely high on the San Francisco 49ers this season. Biggest reason. We saw the last time the 49ers were healthy. What did they do, guys? 2 years ago. Went to the Super Bowl. Yeah, they are 100% healthy again. With Jimmy Garoppolo. Thank you, Trevor. With Jimmy Garoppolo as their quarterback, they got to the Super Bowl. Well, I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be your quarterback this season. I think it's going to be my boy Trey Lance.
From week 1?
No, not from week 1. Not from week 1. You're going to see Trey Lance play early in the season at times. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to continue to show his struggles in this offense, and I'm actually going to disagree with Trevor on this. I don't think him and Shanahan are as tight as they might make you believe, because we've heard that the 49ers are trying to trade Jimmy Garoppolo this offseason. That's not going to bode well, and I don't think his confidence is the type of guy that he's not very confident on the field. I'm sure he's confident off the field, if you know what I mean, but on the field, I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo's confidence is gaining any traction. I think he's going to lose his confidence early. I think you're going to see him struggle early where they have no choice, kind of like the Bears, where they have to go to their young stud. Trey Lance, I know he had his struggles in the preseason, but he also had the most drops in the preseason. He led the league.
Throws too damn hard.
Okay, that's gonna. I think that's gonna start to work out because he's gonna play more reps with the ones.
I like Trey Lance,
and I think he's going to absolutely light this league on fire. I think Trey Lance is going to be an offensive player of the year candidate, offensive rookie of the year candidate, and I think you're going to see this team take that next step. Remember how they went from Alex Smith to Colin Kaepernick, and all of a sudden they're in the Super Bowl for the first time in decades? That's the kind of run I anticipate that the 49ers could potentially go on this year once they have a quarterback who has Deshaun Watson style of talent going into this offense for the first time. Shanahan is gonna have a mobile quarterback for the first time in his career. As Kyle Shanahan has always been a great run zone, like his father was able to put those offenses together. He's went from Kirk Cousins to Matt Ryan to now Jimmy Garoppolo. He's finally going to have that quarterback that's going to unlock that offense like Andy Reid has had with Patrick Mahomes. you're going to see that type of performance this season from Trey Lance. And the only reason I have the Niners at 13-4
Jesus.
is because of the fact they're going to win both games against the Los Angeles Rams. And that's not crazy, because the 49ers, despite their issues they've had over the last year with their injuries, they've won the last 4 games against the Rams. Now, they have gotten better, and so have the Rams, so it's going to be interesting to see how they play this out.
Jimmy G wins games. That's
But
what I'm
Kyle,
saying.
okay, so even more so with a guy like Trey Lance, who is far more talented.
Far more risk averse, too. But.
Sure, absolutely. I just think that with the fact that I think that Trey Lance is actually a great decision maker, because in college, he didn't throw any interceptions.
Yeah.
So there's also that as well. We think that he's just going to be here and throw a bunch of picks. People thought that about Patrick Mahomes as well. I don't think that's going to happen with Trey
From the
Lance.
opposite, yeah.
I think his accuracy is going to develop throughout the year, and they're going to win this division at 13-4.
Man.
So I have the Niners coming back
When do you
with
think?
a
When do you think
vengeance.
Trey Lance starts?
I think it's going to be early in the season. I think
week
it's going to be
4?
within the first 4 weeks, yes. I think Jimmy Garoppolo may not cost them games, but it's going to be like when Mitchell Trubisky was struggling, but they were still winning. The Bears were last year,
Yeah.
and they had to make the move with Nick Foles. I think that's how it's going to go.
That's what I'm
with
saying.
that.
I think the only way that Jimmy G loses his job if he's struggling and they're losing games, or he gets hurt. I just think if they start 5-1, if they start 5-1, they're not throwing Trey Lance
All
out
three
there.
could happen with Jimmy G. We've seen it all 3 happen. So
Of course, that's what I'm saying. It is likely.
So I have the 49ers being my 1 seed in the NFC. My 2 seed is the Washington football team. My 3 seed is the Green Bay Packers. My 4 is the Buccaneers that finishes out the divisional teams. And the three wild card teams is number 5 is the Rams, number 6 is the Seahawks, and then number 7 are the Bears.
Nice.
So let's move to the AFC side of things. I know a lot of our listeners are excited about this one. A lot of our viewers are excited about this because that's where our Chiefs play here in the AFC side of things. But we're going to start in the same way. We're going to work east to west. So in the AFC East, Eddie, how do you have that division working out?
All right, man. AFC East. At number 4, I do have the Jets. At number 4, obviously they got rid of Sam Darnold, trade him to the Panthers, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Yes, sir. You are correct.
They have a rookie quarterback. They drafted who did they draft?
Is what's his name?
I forgot his name.
Did you say the
Jets?
The Jets. They signed Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson.
Yeah, Zach Wilson.
Easily forgotten guy for some reason.
Yeah, I mean he's gonna be a all right
He
quarterback.
has his face.
It's the Jets.
According to
It's
Tony Romo, he's going to be Patrick Mahomes in a couple of years. That's what he literally said.
I actually like him, but yeah. He's looked really good.
Yeah, in college, but I think he only played 1 season in college.
He didn't play the full season.
Yeah,
He's looked good in the preseason. I'll say that.
God damn.
got a good-
So the Jets, the Jets are a dumpster fire. The Jets have always been a dumpster fire. I don't think with I don't think Zach Wilson's gonna lift them to do anything.
Yeah.
I do have him at number 4. At number 3, I have the Patriots. I just don't see them. They don't have an offense, to be honest. They got rid of Joe Tooney. Well, not get rid of him, but
It's a really good defense.
That's a big loss for the Patriots, especially because they're an offense kind of team.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I see Bill Belichick trying to imitate the whole Tom Brady situation with Mac Jones. I just don't.
He's looked good.
I just don't see it working with the kind of weapons he has. He doesn't have weapons. I just don't see them being like this lights out offensive team. I just don't see that. They do have a good defense, but can they stay healthy? That's a question. At number 2, I do have the Dolphins. I think Tua, he's gonna play good football this year. I don't think he's gonna play great football. I think he's gonna be good. I think the Dolphins are prepping up for Deshaun Watson going there next season.
It's been not a secret at all. It's
exactly.
been worst kept secret out there.
So I think the Dolphins are just gonna go out there, let Tua do his thing, whatever, because they know this is it for Tua. I don't know. They'll probably keep him as a backup.
They want him to have success. They want to bait him out there a little bit. Yeah.
They might use him as a trade token for Deshaun Watson. Kind of try to trade a quarterback. Kind of have him get some value out there on the field this next season. So I do have him at number 2 and number 1. Obviously, the best team in that division is the Bills. I don't think anybody can debate that they're the best team in that division. By far the better quarterback, the better team, the better head coach. I think
Sean McDermott's
for
coach.
right now. So yeah.
All right, I'm similar to you, man. The Jets, I got them, bottoming out the division. I have them going 5-12, and them 5 wins. I liked what I've seen from Zach. I think he's got a really, really good arm. He's he's got a lot of power to his arm, and he's really, really accurate. He was making some really good throws, and I will say too, I'm a big Corey Davis fan, and Corey Davis made his way over there. They signed him to a pretty nice little contract over there, and he's the number one. And I'm a big Corey Davis fan. I think he's got all the intangibles as a number one receiver, and I think he's going to be just that this year for Zach Wilson. And I think that duo is going to put up some numbers. I think this year, not that they're going to have W's or anything, but I think they're going to be slightly fun to watch. I think they could be building something over there with Wilson and Corey Davis. If they get some kind of defense over there, structured, I think they could be, the trajectory of that team could be aiming up. But I got them going 5-12, nothing special. But this is definitely a building block year for Zach Wilson and Corey Davis. They're both still really young guys. But yeah, nothing special. In the third spot, I have the New England Patriots. Mac Jones, another rookie quarterback, which I'm glad they made. As a Cam fan, I'm glad they made the move they did. I think Belichick made the right move getting Mac Jones out there. Just, we drafted you in this position to be our guy. It's similar. It's ironically, it's similar to how the Panthers did to for Cam when they got rid of Steve Smith and out of that locker room because Steve Smith was such an alpha. He was butting heads with Cam because Cam's such an alpha as well, and that was just not making for good morale and camaraderie in the locker room. So I think that's kind of what they did. They just let Mac Jones, you're our guy. Plain and simple, we got Cam out. I think Coach Belichick and Cam have a good relationship. They like each other. There's mutual respect there. But I think Cam understood what it was. They drafted him to be the guy. They know this year is not going to be some surprise year for the Patriots. I think they know what they are. They have a good defense. They're going to try to win as many safely ways they can and win as many games as they can for the Patriots. I think they'll be decent. I have them going 7-10. That's such a good defense. That is such a good defense over there. And talk about home field advantage. It's one of the toughest places to play, one of the toughest environments to walk into as an opposing NFL team over there. I think they're going to be. You got Bill Belichick coaching the defense, man. He's going to find ways to get Mac Jones in successful positions. And they got two really good tight ends. As long as Hunter Henry can stay healthy, and they got Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry, maybe one of the best duos of tight ends position this year on the NFL. I like both those guys. Really athletic, good pass-catching guys, good after-the-catch guys as well. So I like them. I think those are two really good safety blankets for Mac Jones. So I think that's going to translate to some wins. I think they'll get 7 wins, 7-10. And then I like the Dolphins in the second spot. I like them a lot. That's a really good defense, really tough. They've been making that a really tough place to go play now. I'm not big on Tua, man. I haven't liked what I've seen from him so far in his NFL. I think he's one of those. I think he's another Alex Smith type guy. He's athletic, but he can't stay healthy either, man. So I don't know if he goes down, they're screwed. I like Myles Gaskin, the running back. I like a lot of their defensive players, but they don't have any true wide receiver weapons in my mind. None of them that can stay healthy anyway. So I got them winning the second spot, 9-8. So I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. They're not one of my playoff teams in this division. And then you got the Buffalo Bills. There's not much you need to say. I mean, we watched them last year. Josh Allen I was big on Josh Allen from the jump. When he first entered this league, I liked everything about him. I liked what he had. I saw the growth that was the potential growth that was there, and he did nothing but that. He's grown. He is a deadly weapon in this league. Yeah, I mean, I love everything about this team. I love Stephon Diggs. I've been a fanboy of him since the beginning. I love everything about this team. McDermott's a great coach. They're getting better defensively. This is a dangerous team heading into this year, man. It really, really is. Have them going 12-5. Winning this division handily. So,
you guys remember all those years when the AFC East was just pathetic? I mean, we're talking about it was the Patriots and everybody else and a bunch of 5-6 win teams at best. Those days are done.
Yeah.
I think this AFC East is really on the up and coming, man.
Yeah,
and I'm so confident in this division. I have 3 teams making the playoffs in this division.
Wow. Okay.
I have 3 teams making the playoffs in this division.
One.
The Jets aren't one of them. Robert Saleh is. I'm a humongous fan of Robert Saleh.
Yeah.
I think this dude knows defense better than some people could ever. The dude has so much knowledge when it comes to the defensive side of things, and I love his story. And I think he actually has a really good chance of being a good coach. I'm not a big fan of having a defensive-minded head coach. I don't know if that usually bodes well outside of the Belichick situation. Most great coaches in the league are in today's NFL are offensive-driven.
Special teams are offensive guys.
Yeah, special teams offensive guys, but there are the exceptions. I think Robert Saleh could potentially be that. Here's the issue with this team, besides the obvious, of them having no depth whatsoever at any position. Shaky offensive line. It's the fact that they're putting so much on Zach Wilson to begin the season. He does not have a veteran behind him to kind of kick him in the ass a little bit and give him some inspiration. It's just him and nobody else behind him. They have no backup plan. It's a lot like the Cowboys. Their defense, I don't think, as much as, again, as I believe in Robert Saleh, I think this is one of those teams where they're really, really bad the first year and they progressively get better because he goes and gets his guys. Yeah. And by year 3, this Jets team's all of a sudden looking pretty damn dangerous. That's how this usually goes. I think this Jets team's going to lose a lot of games this year. In fact, I think they're going to be one of the worst teams record-wise in the NFL, but their record won't indicate their progress. I think they'll be a better team than their record indicated. I think they're going to go 2-15 because they're going to be that bad as far as just not being able to seal games out because they don't have the depth, and you need depth, especially in a prolonged season and 17 game schedules as opposed to 16. That's going to pay. You're going to see that help teams and hurt teams, and I think they're going to be one of the teams that it hurts. Zach Wilson, although is talented, we don't know what he is.
He's looked good, man.
He has talent. He has an extremely strong arm. People think he's small. He's 6'3". He's not a small dude.
Yeah, he looks poised in the pocket.
He looks like one of the Disney Channel kids, but he's not small.
Yeah,
and I
12.
think he's got the talent. Yeah. But we've talked about this, guys, and it's been proven throughout the years. When you have a draft, every quarterback in that draft is not going to pop.
This could be the greatest quarterback draft class ever, though.
I just don't.
This has potential to be that.
Because the fact that I don't know enough about Zach Wilson, and I never saw him play against good competition. When he played against decent competition, he struggled in college. And the fact he's not going to a great franchise who has never developed a quarterback in their history. Yeah. I mean, literally, they're one of their greatest quarterbacks in their history is Mark Sanchez. That's how bad they are. Everyone praises Joe Namath. That dude completed 50% of his passes in his career. Dude was trash. That's what people talk about all the time is Joe Namath. That's because he wore nice suits on the sidelines and he was handsome. Okay, outside of that, I'm just saying, guys, I don't think this team's going to be good. I'm going to say 2-15. I quite frankly have given them too much time on the show. But after that, look, man, the Patriots finishing third place in this division never seemed like an ideal thing, but I actually think this is going to be a blessing in disguise for them because I don't think a lot of people understand just how talented this roster is actually. Guys, you have to remember, last year, the Patriots went 7-9 and had 8 starting players opt out. 8! That was the most in the league. The Patriots still went 7-9. Now, that's not good, but they had a quarterback who threw 9 touchdowns. Cam Newton threw 9 touchdowns. He had a COVID scare. He had all these problems they had. They had a tough schedule, and they still won 7 games. Mac Jones, I don't really know how good he's going to be in the league, but I think he's going to be good enough. He's going to just stay out of the way and be a very moderate, conservative-style quarterback, which is what the Patriots have had for 2 decades.
Just need a game manager.
Yes, just a game manager. Let the run game do the job on the offensive side. I know Joe Thuney was a loss, but they didn't do too bad this offseason in rebuilding that offensive line.
They had a great offseason.
And I think this might be the best defense in the AFC. I think this legitimately could finish as the best defense in the AFC. If you look at that schedule, it lightened up this year. They have a third place schedule, and I think they're going to capitalize on that. I have the Patriots making the playoffs this year. I think Belichick is going to have one of his best coaching seasons because he's motivated, because they're playing the Bucs in week 4. There's a lot of questions of whether Belichick could really do it without Brady. He's going to be motivated this year, guys, and he has the opportunity to actually capitalize. Trevor broke it down. They got talent at tight end. They have all their defensive guys back. They even went and signed Van Noy back, who fits this defense perfectly. They're going to win 10 games this year. I have them at 10-7 this season, finishing third in this division.
No, sir.
And then I'm actually one of those people that I'm big on the Dolphins. I like the Dolphins this year. I think Tua Tagovailoa is going to actually have a decent season. I don't think he's going to be a great quarterback either. I'm going to be with you. I think
they were better with Fitz.
At best, he's going to be an Alex Smith type quarterback that just throws 3,700 yards, 23, 24 touchdowns, and like 11 picks. They don't have a lot of weapons, but I think
Gesicki's his best receiving
I think
option.
this Dolphins defense is going to be stacked.
Oh, yeah.
I think Brian Flores has that defense going. Their special teams is going to be really good this year, too.
Yeah.
I think that and you're right, Eddie, you brought up the whole Deshaun Watson thing. I think that's actually going to give them motivation. Because Tua Tagovailoa, let's say he has a decent season. Let's say Tua throws like 3,800 yards and 22 touchdowns, right? Let's say he goes for that, but he has like 28 total touchdowns. Someone is going to trade for Tua. Someone is going to trade for Tua, and that's going to happen. I think they do get Deshaun Watson. I think they are in the they have the upper hand right now. But this roster with Xavier Howard, that defense, man, I think they're going to win them a lot of games. I think they're going to shut down a lot of opponents. If you look at their
They did it
schedule,
last year.
they actually have the easiest schedule in the NFL. They have, outside of the 49ers, they have one of the easiest schedules in the NFL. That's saying something, by the way, with the 49ers, with the tough division they have. They have a lot of puds on the other side of this. But the Dolphins have the easiest schedule in the NFL. I think they're going to capitalize on that. They may be even a little overrated, but I have them as an 11-6 team, guys. I really think they're going to win a lot of games this season based on their defense, based on their coaching, and based on their schedule. The number one team, look, I was tempted to take the Dolphins to win this division. Guys, I'm big on the Dolphins this year.
Yeah.
The reason
I
I
got
didn't,
3 teams come out of this division.
the reason I did not have them winning this
made
division.
fun of Trevor last season.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
God damn.
And I'll hold because we have this on receipt, bro. We have this on video now.
I'm not sure. I only hold up for the Patriots as Mac Jones. I just don't know what he's going to become.
The Buffalo Bills are the class of this division, not just because of Josh Allen, not just because of Sean McDermott being a proven head coach and all these other things. It's the fact they own the Dolphins.
Yeah.
I mean, they whooped them both times last season. I don't think that's going to change. If the Dolphins put up a fight last year and didn't get worked both games, I would have probably picked the Dolphins. But because of the fact that Josh Allen's back, and I do believe in his talent, there are legitimate questions about whether he can have another season like he had last year, or are they going to rest on their laurels and just buy into their own hype? That is legitimate. I'm not buying that yet. I think this Bills team is good. I think they're actually borderline greats. I think they have a very good roster. I don't think it's a great roster. It's a very good roster. Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen are great together. That's going to continue. The problem I do think, and why I think they're going to have a few, or at least one more loss this season than last season, is because Cole Beasley, another unvaccinated player, could potentially cost them not just his own availability, but costing his team. Maybe some guys that were in close contact, things of that nature that could probably screw them over. Because according to Peter King, one of the greatest writers of all time in NFL history, he had stated if you test positive for COVID on a Friday, you're missing the next 2 games.
Yeah. They have Emmanuel Sanders over there to replace him if they need be, but yeah.
He's a little washed at this time, but he's still okay. The point is,
better than Cole Beasley.
Josh Allen, I believe in him. I believe Josh Allen is going to be an MVP candidate this season. I have the Bills winning the division at 12-5.
Nice.
Moving to the AFC North, which I think is going to be one of the more intriguing divisions in the entire NFL this year because there is so much debate, so much concern, so many hot takes going around about who's going to win this division, who's going to finish last, all these other things. Eddie Ortiz, who's winning this division, or how's this division shaking out for you?
Man. I'm just going to say this. I got 3 teams coming out of this division. I have 3 teams coming out of this division. This division is going to be good. Good football this year.
Good last year, too.
Number 4, I am going to have the Bengals. Joe Burrow, great quarterback. We saw what he can do last year. He did tear his ACL. Or was it his ACL?
Joe Burrow tore his ACL.
ACL
yes.
and his
against Washington.
PCL or something like that. He tore 2 different things, yeah.
So, I don't know how healthy he's going to be this year. I don't know how mobile he's going to be. I don't know if that injury, that freak injury last year put that little scare something, of getting tackled, or something.
Mentally, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know how he's gonna come out, but overall the Bengals just don't have a fucking team. They don't. They drafted Jamar Chase, I believe, this year. He has not lived up to what they thought he was gonna live up to. I believe in 5 targets he had 4 drops, and I think in his college career he had like 5 total drops or some shit like that. Yeah, I don't see the Bengals winning that many games this year at all. It's going to be very, very hard. If I think they're going to rely on Joe Burrow a little way too much this season, and he's banged up. We don't know how, like I said, I don't know how healthy he's coming into the season.
Yeah.
At number 3, I do have the Steelers. They have a good team. It's just the whole how healthy is Big Ben and how is he going to be this next season? I just don't know. That's a big question for me. That's the only reason why I had to put him in the number 3 spot. I do have him making the playoffs, but like I said, I just don't know how good Big Ben is going to be this year. I don't know if he's going to come out and have a great year, kind of like what he did last year. I just don't know with Big Ben. I don't know if he's still dealing with injuries and like with his throwing arm. I don't know. So that's the only reason why I'm putting the Steelers at number 3. They do have a good team. At number 2, I do have the Ravens. I have the Ravens at number 2. They have a good team, but I just don't believe that much on Lamar Jackson. I'm gonna start thinking that teams are gonna start figuring out their offense a little more this season because they know what Lamar Jackson is still gonna do those routes and run. Obviously, he's a freak athlete, so he's still gonna get his yards. He's still gonna get his carries. He's still gonna eat. But I just think they're gonna be able to close the gap a little bit more with the Ravens. I still think they have a great team out there in Baltimore. At number 1, I do have the Browns. I think the Browns had the better team out of all these teams in the AFC North. I think they have the better roster. They have the best running back duo, I think, in the league. Their defense is unbelievable. They only stacked it up this year even more. Their whole roster, they even built up even more. So I think this team's going to be a team to watch for in the AFC. So I do have them winning the division.
Nice, man. Nice. Yeah. Pretty similar. So, Lance, how you had the AFC East panning out is similar to how I have the AFC North panning out. I also have 3 teams making the playoffs. I just think a lot of experience and loaded rosters in this division is just destined for playoffs. It's destined for wins, and I'm taking that over the young and experienced guys in the AFC East. As far as the Mac Jones and the Tuas and stuff, I just don't. I would trust Big Ben and Lamar Jackson to be and then obviously Baker. So yes, I have the Cincinnati Bengals bottoming out this division at 6-11. I'm giving them 6 wins because I love this offense, man. I really, really do. I think Burrow's going to play decent enough. I think it's going to take him time to get his feet back underneath him. But I mean, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon. This offense is loaded, man. This is a young, fast-paced, throw the ball a ton. Joe Burrow's going to throw the ball like 50 times a game, and it's going to be fun.
I don't think they have the offensive line to protect Joe Burrow.
They did improve it. They improved it, but I mean, they had to. They improved it. I think I forgot they made a couple moves on the offensive line. I can't name names right now, but they definitely made some moves. I'm only giving them 6 wins, which I think is a lot for what most people would give them. But I'm a believer in Joe Burrow. I do. I believe in Joe Burrow, but we do need to see how he responds after that major injury. Shout out Chase Young. But yeah, that was brutal, man.
That's fucked up, man.
Yeah. Hey, I'm just saying that was a great defensive play.
I think he got blocked into his knee though. That's the problem.
But I mean, that's just a huge human being throwing it.
Chase Young felt like dog shit after that.
Of course, he doesn't want to do that. But
and they're friends too.
But Joe Burrow's bounced back. He's looked okay, and from all the reports is that he's dealing with a little bit of the psyche side of it, and trying to get himself over that, which is obviously understandable. Yeah. I don't want to spend too much time on the Bengals, but I do like them. I think they'll be entertaining for football, and especially fantasy purposes. I think there's going to be a lot of throwing the football. I think Joe Burrow's going to throw the ball a ton this year. But yeah, they're not making the playoffs in any sense. The 6-11, I have them. And then next, I have Pittsburgh. This is a tight race in this division.
Yes.
I have Pittsburgh going 10-7. They were good last year, but they had, I think, the easiest schedule in the NFL last year, and they completely, which is why they won 11-0 their first 11 games, and they're the most overglorified undefeated team I think in NFL history. Granted, all that being said, I still love Big Ben. I think Big Ben he's got that. He's always had that it factor. He's known how to extend plays even in his old age. He's still got that arm. They're saying his arm looks a lot better this year than it did last year because he was still recovering throughout the season last year. He never had a full time to recover his arm. He took a lot. He babied himself. He's in good shape this year. He's slimmer. I'm gonna go off what his history has shown. He's always been a winner. Big Ben's always been a winner. You say whatever it is. He's failed in the playoffs. For sure. He's got 2 rings, for sure. The dude's always competitive with his teams. He's always getting his teams in position to at least make the playoffs. And I believe they make the playoffs. I have them going 10-7. You got Deontay Johnson, you got Juju, and you got Chase Claypool, Najee fucking Harris.
Yeah.
Might be the best rookie running back in the league this year, which I think he will. And that O-line's good. That defense is great. They have a defensive player of the year candidate over there, and T.J. Watt, who is an absolute stud. I think this team is absolutely loaded and set up to make the playoffs. So I got them taking the 3rd spot, and then the Baltimore Ravens. I have them just outing the Steelers by 1 game, going 11-6. It is what it is, man. This team is a winning team. Say what you want about the playoff woes, we'll get there, but they're going to win games. I have them winning at least 11 games. Lamar Jackson is a good, solid quarterback in this league. Not the best thrower, but Hollywood Brown is healthy and heading into the opener of this season. Mark Andrews is a legitimately top-tier tight end in this league. He has that safety blanket there. Sammy Watkins is banged up right now, but this is more about my trust for the coaching of that team. I believe in the coaching, and I believe that is an absolute stud-riddled defense over there. So and then the culture over there is, it's hard to win games in Baltimore, man. It's a tough place to go win. I think they'll win a lot of home games. They'll take care of business. I got them winning 11 games. And then I have the Cleveland Browns winning one more game than them, going 12-5. I love this Browns team this year. I think they're going to be fun. I love Baker Mayfield, always have. Granted, I've had my doubts about him being a legitimate starter in this league. I like him for who he is. I think he's just a competitive prick compared to what like what they've said about Patrick Mahomes. I think Baker's in that same vein. Yes. I really do. Baker's always been that guy. I loved watching him at OU. It pissed a lot of people off, but I love guys like that. That's why I love Brett Favre. I love guys that talk
Baker
that shit.
He came into the
That's
league,
what I'm saying. Like, granted, he's in the AFC, so I gotta, rein it back a little bit because we all know who the king is in the AFC. But I love Baker, man. I love this team. I think Odell's gonna bounce back strongly this year. Jarvis Landry, they got weapons, man. I think Nick Chubb is a true Offensive Player of the Year candidate. Offensive Player of the Year candidate. I think he's gonna have an absolute monster season behind that O-line. Outside of Derrick Henry, he had the most 50-plus yard touchdowns. He's one of the best. Outside of Derrick Henry, he's the best home run hitting running back in this league. The guy is insane. His ability to make guys miss. This offense is going to be fun. This defense is going to be outrageous. Everything around the coaching is just. Everything about this team is set up for success this year. They're going to make a run. So I have them topping out that division. 3 teams: Steelers, Ravens, Browns. All 3 making the playoffs.
I still think we need to implement drug testing here at the Spoken Podcast because you guys are tripping on some things, and I'm about to tell you why. So, no, I will agree, though. I think the Bengals are one of those teams that are still a year or two away. I will make it clear, and I have been clear about this since day one, Joe Burrow is the truth. I think Joe Burrow is going to be a stud quarterback for years to come, barring, that knee obviously not, getting back to health as it should, but I think it takes usually 12 to 18 months for an ACL not only to heal, but for your mind to align back with your body and trusting that knee, and I think Joe Burrow is going to struggle with that sometimes this season. Trevor's 100% right, though. This offense is stacked with young talent, and I think that Joe Burrow is going to capitalize on that a lot of times. The problem is that the Bengals are trying to overcome a lot of things that most teams can't and usually don't. And it's a shaky offensive line. That offensive line is still going to be a bottom 10 offensive line in this league. I think this defense, I couldn't even name you 3 players on this defense currently. I don't think they're going to be a very good defensive team. And Zach Taylor, we still don't know what kind of coach he is, and I think by year 3 you kind of should know, and we don't. I'm still going to give him a break because he lost Joe Burrow last season. I think the Bengals would have been a 7-win team last year had it not been for Burrow's injury because he was balling, and I think he's going to continue to ball this year. Yeah, but I think they're going to fall short a lot of times. They have a decent schedule, not a difficult schedule, but they play in a very competitive division, and I think they're going to lose a lot of games in this division because they're just teams simply better than them. I have them also at 6-11. If I told you guys that this team, and you don't know names or anything, has a 39-year-old quarterback with a surgically repaired arm with a very, very mediocre, at best, offensive line, they're basing their offense success off of the rookie running back with a defense that lost one of their 2 best players in the offseason, going up against 2 teams significantly better than them at this point, how would you think that season would fare?
I mean, they won, 12 games last year? And they were worse last year.
They had the easiest schedule in the NFL last year.
Yeah, but they were worse.
And they lost 5 straight games to end the season, and then they lost, and they got smoked, and they're in their house by a team that most people did not predict to have a great season in the Browns. The point I'm trying to make is,
came back and won that game.
I know they were down 28 points before the first half was over.
Dude.
I get that, but the Browns were playing shell defense by the third quarter. They let loose. They completely. If they wanted to keep going, they'd have won that game before.
Mac Jones made the playoffs, but not Big Ben. Okay, gotcha.
So the Steelers are a fraudulent team to me. I believe in Mike Tomlin. I think he's one of the 5 to 10 best head coaches in this league. But eventually, guys, you have to go to another well because this well is run dry. I think Ben Roethlisberger has hit a wall and hit a wall significantly. We heard reports last season that he basically told the offensive coordinator, because Mike Tomlin's a defensive-minded head coach. He doesn't run the offense. I'm just going to throw the ball. I don't think that changes much. I think Najee Harris has a really good chance of being a solid player this season, but I think that Ben Roethlisberger ultimately always goes back to what's reliable to him, what he feels comfortable with, and it's not going to bode well for the Steelers this year. Not to mention the fact the Steelers have a significantly different schedule this year than last year. They start the season at Buffalo, then and throughout the season they go to at Green Bay, they play the Broncos, they play the Seahawks, they play the Bengals, they play the Browns and Ravens twice, they play the Bears, they play the Chargers in LA, they play the Chiefs Chiefs in Kansas City. They play the Titans. This is a tough-ass schedule, and I don't believe in this roster. I think defensively they'll always be good because Mike Tomlin's a badass at getting a great defense. They've always been great at defense, but losing Bud Dupree I do think is going to hurt them because T.J. Watt capitalized on having Bud Dupree, and you saw when Bud Dupree got hurt, that defense did drop. They didn't play.
Mid-season injuries will throw you a loop.
Sure, absolutely. And Minkah Fitzpatrick's still there, so I think they're going to have a really good sound secondary. I don't think that this Steelers team is going to be good enough, especially in this division, to do enough to get into the playoffs. And I think Ben Roethlisberger's body is going to progressively break down. I know he's in better shape, but how much better shape could you be when you're Peter Griffin? I don't believe that he's going to be able to keep his body healthy. The arm is eventually going to wear down. You saw it wear down last season. I can't imagine with a longer schedule that it's going to get better this time. I don't see it, guys. I think this Steelers team is going to struggle to score points against these tough opponents they're going to have to face all season long. I have the Steelers finishing 7-10 this year, man. I think they're going to struggle this year. Then this might have been the toughest one for me to call when it came to these two teams at the top of this North Division. The Browns had an awesome season last year. They also had an easy schedule. And I think they are one of the better rosters in the league. I believe in Kevin Stefanski. I said before, I thought Ron Rivera should have won Coach of the Year, even though I know the Washington football team had a losing record. To overcome what they did and him having cancer and all those things, I still would have picked Ron Rivera.
Deserved it,
But Stefanski deserved it too, man. My God, to change the curse in Cleveland was something to absolutely admire, and I think Stefanski is on his way up. He's also an offensive-minded head coach, which I like. And Baker Mayfield is a solid quarterback. Yes. They're going to score points this year.
Yes, sir.
But I still don't know what I'm getting out of Odell Beckham Jr. I know he's healthy, but he's always healthy to start the season. He gets hurt like in week 6.
He's never been on the same page as Baker either.
Right. Yeah. Now they have the best, probably stable of running backs in Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt together. They have a very good offensive line. They have maybe the best front seven in football. I think this team's going to win a lot of games. But the reason why I'm picking the Browns to finish second in this division is because now there is actual pressure on the Browns. Going into last season, they had an easy schedule and no one was counting them to be a Super Bowl contending team. Well, now that pressure is on the Browns, and I want to see them go out there and prove it. They're going to win a lot of games this year. But the reason why I'm picking the Browns to finish behind the Ravens at number 1, and by the way, I have the Browns at 11-6 this year, is because of the fact for the first time since Lamar Jackson took over as Ravens quarterback in 2018, no one's talking about the Ravens. You notice everyone's talking about the Browns being the darlings.
No
People are picking the Browns to go to the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah.
Everyone's picking the Browns. Everyone's talking about the Browns. No one's really talking about Lamar Jackson and what the Ravens are going to do this year. Just lost J.K. Dobbins. That's going to be a huge blow. There's a lot of people that have been doubting the Ravens. But if you look at the way the Ravens' schedule sets up, it is perfect for them to work their way into this schedule. And the fact they have an underrated as hell defense. This defense is going to be nasty this season.
Yeah, man.
Now, they're blitz first, so against the Chiefs, that usually doesn't bode well. But against a team like the Browns, it matches up really well for them because it clogs up the lanes for the running backs. I think the Ravens beat the Browns both times this season, like the 49ers with the Rams that ends up deciding the division winner. I think that's how this division goes. They only win this division by 1 game. No one's expecting the Ravens to have a deep playoff push because, as we broke down on the show several times, Lamar shits his pants in the playoffs every year. This, if any year in Lamar Jackson's career that he could do it, it'd be this season. I think Lamar Jackson is going to have another MVP caliber season because we know how he plays in the regular season. He balls out. Well, unless he has some sort of COVID scare this year, I think he's going to do something like he did in 2019. I think he's going to have another awesome season individually during the regular season to get this team to 12 wins. I think he's going to do it. I'm putting my faith in the Ravens. I can't believe I'm saying it, but I just see the way this schedule matches up, the fact that the Browns are actually going to have pressure on them this year, and it's going to be fun to watch how they handle that. I'm picking the Ravens to win this division at 12-5. AFC South. Eddie, how do you see this interesting division breaking down?
All right, man. At number 4 in the AFC South, I do have the Texans. Only reason they're a shitty team.
That's the only reason we need.
That's the only reason.
That's the only reason we need.
They're just completely
They're a shit.
Fucking horrible.
They're a shit.
And obviously, we don't even know how many games Deshaun Watson's going to play this year.
You got faith in Tyrod Taylor, man?
If he's going to have a punctured lung by the week 2.
Jesus.
Nah, this team is just terrible. I think I think the Texans might be the worst team in the NFL this year.
Yeah.
I do think that. I do believe that. I have no high hopes on the Texans. I have no hopes at all. The Texans are, the Texans are the Texans. And I think they'll continue to be the Texans. At number 3, I do have the Jaguars. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence is going to come in here and do his thing. I do believe he's going to have a good season with the Jaguars. Obviously, not great enough to make a playoff push or anything like that. Not even close. So I have him in the 3rd spot. Number 2, I do have the Colts. I have the Colts in the number 2 spot because I don't know how many games Carson Wentz is going to play this season. He's already dealing with the COVID-19 list. He's dealing with the foot injury. I honestly don't know if he's going to stay healthy the whole season. I don't. So I can't expect too much from the Colts, even though I want to, because obviously Carson Wentz is a good quarterback. It's just what holds me back is the whole injury situation. Him not being able to stay healthy a full season. Yeah, that's the biggest reason why I have the Colts at number 2. At number 1, I do have the Titans. The Titans adding Julio Jones to their receiving core, it's gonna pay off. I think Tannehill is gonna have a good season. I think him and Julio Jones are gonna click right away. I think week 1 they're gonna have a good game together. I think they're gonna click throughout the season. So I do have my number 1 on that.
Yeah, I mean this division. There's a lot of variance in outcomes for specific teams in this division outside of the Texans, But yeah, the Texans 2-15. I have them 2-15. That's it.
I would be interested to know which wins you give the Texans.
I'm being so generous right now, like an accidental win, like a team fumbles,
late fumble,
or some kind of.
I can see it being the Jaguars. That'll be one of them.
No.
Listen, you can't even give him that. He's like, no.
Dude, I am huge on Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence is a generational talent. I think he's going to become one of the best quarterbacks in this league for a long time. That's how much I believe in. And I think he's going to be that for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think he's going to turn this franchise around. That's a long-term discussion. We'll get there as time goes on. It's not this year, obviously. I have Jacksonville winning 6 games, though. I have them going 6-11. I think Trevor Lawrence, like I said, is a generational guy. I think he's more mobile than people give him credit for. I think he averaged 40 to 45 rushing yards per game in his college career. That's a mobile quarterback. The guy can extend plays with his legs. He's got an absolute cannon for an arm. Not only cannon, very accurate at all. He makes all the throws. He's got Laviska Shenault. He's got Chris Conley. He's got DJ Shark, who are 3 legitimate receivers in this league who I like as a young trio. He's got, I know ETN went down, their high draft pick, who's arguably the best running back in the draft, which is a huge blow for them. That guy was going to have a lot of promise. But they do have Robinson, who balled out last year for a shitty Jaguars team that didn't have Trevor Lawrence. So I think this team is going to make a statement, changing similar to what Baker did for the Browns, giving them hope. Obviously, this is another level because Trevor Lawrence is much more of a talent and prospect than Baker was. But I have them winning 6 games, going 6-11. I like this team. I think this is going to be a turning point for this franchise. I don't know how I feel about Urban Meyer. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if he's the long-term coach. I think he is a trickery guy, so I think he's going to put Trevor Lawrence in position to make it as easy as possible for him. He likes to, get creative, but I don't know if that's going to backfire. That could definitely backfire. But I like Jacksonville. I like Trevor Lawrence as their guy there. I have the Colts in the 2nd spot. I almost wanted to pick the Colts for the top dog in this division. If I could promise, because look, man, look what they did with Phillip Rivers last year. The corpse of Phillip Rivers, who couldn't throw past 20 yards, and this offensive line, and this defense, and Jonathan Taylor, who's an emerging star running back in this league. If they can promise me that Carson Wentz can play 80% to what he was in his MVP caliber year, behind this O-line, with this coaching staff, with the coach that gave him that year, with these offensive, I know Ty is down, but they still got they still got some young receivers in this team. And I just think that team is built to win games. I really, really do. It's a boring team, but they won a lot of games last year with Phillip Rivers, who couldn't barely throw the ball at all. It looked horrible. But they were, they almost made the playoffs and became a team that was, to be reckoned with at times last year. And I think Carson Wentz has the intangibles to be even, take that team to the next step. But I just can't trust him and his health, his psyche, everything about him. So that's why I put him in the second spot. I have them winning, 9 games, going 9-8. It could be more than that. Very well could be. And I would not be surprised if he stays healthy and they win this division. I was just going to say that out loud now. But I do have the Tennessee Titans winning this team. In my mind, they are the best team in this division. They've proven that the last couple of years. Ryan Tannehill, since becoming the quarterback for the Titans, has been great. He's been great. His mobility, his ability to make plays, make all the throws. Obviously having Derrick Henry as an anchor for that offense helps a whole lot, taking the pressure off the quarterback when you have a guy that can do what he does on a game-to-game basis. But the addition of Julio Jones, whether he's healthy this whole year or not, if he plays 10 to 11 games, that's all you really need from Julio, man, because that's typically what he does. Yeah. He doesn't ever very rarely play a whole season. But you got him and you got A.J. Brown. That duo might be the most deadliest wide receiver to wide receiver duo in the league. So you got that, and you got Derrick Henry. I think Ferkser is their tight end, who I like as a up-and-coming tight end in this league. Who's a fairly good guy. And then you got that defense is still solid. Very well coached team. Mike Vrabel is one of the best coaches in this league. A players coach who is great for that team. This team's got a lot of promise. This could be a deadly team in the playoffs too, come the playoff time. But I have them winning 11 games, going 11-6, taking this division, man.
Well, I'm going to tell you guys right now, there is going to be a team this year that does not win a single game, and it will be the Houston Texans. From top to bottom, this is an embarrassment. Look, I went through the schedule, and I couldn't confidently pick a single win.
They got good players, man.
Look, Tyrod Taylor is a decent quarterback, but they don't have the weapons. They don't have a good defense. They don't even have a head coach. And I don't disrespect David Coley here, but we all know why he's there. We all know he's just there to get them through this rough patch, and when they get back, hopefully if they ever do, they're going to fire him immediately, and they're going to go and get their guy that they want. Yeah. This team is this has the recipe to be the worst team that we've seen since, I think it was at that 2009 Pistons Lions team. Yeah. It could be that bad. It could be that bad too. It could really be that bad. I'm being honest. I think this could be this could go down as one of the worst teams in NFL history. I think they're going to lose every single game on their schedule. I'm going to go that far. Maybe I'm wrong.
The Chiefs need to trade for Brandon Cooks, though. I'm just saying that.
I wouldn't hate that, but look, I'm just saying, guys. I think this. I don't want to go too far into it. Just go look at that roster and go look at their schedule, and it's going to be really hard for me to pick a single win. Maybe I'm wrong. I probably will be wrong because they can probably get one or two, but I couldn't pick it. I couldn't pick it. Yeah. Look, I'm also a Trevor. I think Trevor Lawrence is the truth. I think he's also going to be a stud in this league. The problem for Trevor Lawrence is he's playing with an embarrassment of a franchise. He's playing for an embarrassment of a franchise in the Jacksonville Jaguars, who just do not know how to build winning teams consistently or at all at times. I think that they're going to be in some games. I think they're going to be in, like, man, how are the Jags hanging tough in this game? It's because Trevor Lawrence, I think he's going to get those guys open. The problem with Trevor brought up some names. The problem with which DJ Chark is the fact that this dude is always hurt. Yeah. And if you have to mention Chris Conley as one of the premier receivers on a team, you don't have a lot of...
Chenault is a baller.
I'm just saying, though, when you bring Chris Conley, he's at best an average receiver in this league. I just don't think they have enough weapons around Trevor Lawrence. Etienne is a humongous loss because I was expecting him to have a baller season as well. Yeah. This team's going to win and lose games because of Urban Meyer. I talked about how situational they're going to be in situations where they can potentially win games, but because of the fact that I just vehemently do not believe in Urban Meyer as a coach at the NFL level, I think he's going to cost them more games than they should lose. They're not a great team already, but because of how he's going to fuck things up for them, I think they're going to lose a lot more games than they should, and I'm talking about like 4 or 5 more games than they should. Yeah. Trevor, you're right. They should be a 6-win team. They're not going to be. They're going to be 3-14 this year because of that tough schedule they have, and because of the fact that, like I said, Urban Meyer is going to cost them a lot of games, and all of a sudden he's going to go, I'm not feeling good. I need to retire again. So I think that's what's going to happen with them.
Damn.
Look, wow. This offseason when Carson went to the Colts, I was very big on this one. Yeah. I thought, man, Frank Reich getting that quarterback back. The last time we saw Carson Wentz at his best was with Frank Reich as his OC in Philly. This team, man, really has an opportunity to turn that tide. They did what they did with Phillip Rivers, who was nowhere near his prime anymore, but they still won 11 games. This could be that team that can maybe sneak into an AFC championship of sorts. And then we saw the Carson Wentz of always rear his ugly head and have injuries, have COVID concerns, then go on there and talk about pros and cons of not getting vaccinated, which I don't. What are the cons to begin with? But never mind. T.Y. Hilton, already hurt, going to miss several games this season to start the season off. Quentin Nelson, who might be the best guard in football, already having an injury concern. I mean, hell, even their backup quarterback is missing the first 5 weeks of the season. So this team, I think that sometimes you see it early. When a team gets bit by the injury bug, it keeps biting. I think this team's going to have a lot of injury concerns throughout the entire season. Frank Reich's a damn good coach. I believe in him. I just don't think this Colts roster is going to hold up this year. I have zero faith in Carson Wentz. Yeah. I don't think he's so talented, but he's also an ignorant fool, and he's also injury prone. When you have that at quarterback, you don't have a quarterback. I think this team's going to struggle this year. I still think they're good enough to get to about 8 wins, so I have them at 8-9 because their schedule's not super difficult. Yeah. But I do think that they're going to struggle and miss the playoffs. Even though I was kind of buying their hype for a second. This is the Titans division to lose. There is no question about it, man. They had an incredible offseason, in my opinion. They went and got Bud Dupree. They went and stacked that defense. That defense was terrible last season. They sucked. They were not good at all.
They were getting burnt.
Yes, they were horrible. I think Mike Vrabel is going to have a better defense this year that's going to be a top 20-ish defense, which is all they're going to really need with that defense or with that offensive line. I'm with Trevor. I think Ryan Tannehill's been very efficient over these last couple of seasons with the Titans. Adding Julio Jones doesn't hurt anything. I think that Derrick Henry is going to have another incredible season because this dude is just not human. He just continues to put out insane numbers and never misses games. This offensive line, they have some concerns up front, but I think because of the fact that you added Julio Jones and you have those weapons on offense, I think they're going to be good this season, man. I think they're going to win 10 games. I have them at 10-7 to win this division. And then, last but not least, we have the AFC West. Eddie, I'm gonna just expand on it, man, because there's a lot of people that are buying some hype on a couple teams outside of the Chiefs in this one, man. How do you see this division shaking out?
Man. I'm buying into the hype too. I got 2 teams making the playoffs out of this division, but obviously not these 2 that I'm about to mention. Number 4, I have the Broncos. I love Teddy Bridgewater. I want to see him succeed in Denver, but I just don't think he's the right quarterback. I don't think he's the right fit for that team. We all know that their quarterback and the one that they want is Aaron Rodgers. I don't believe in their head coach. I just don't see this team going out there and winning a lot of games. I just don't. I don't believe in this team at all. At number 3, I do have the Raiders. With Derek Carr, you're never gonna win anything. I'm just gonna say that out loud. John Gruden as your head coach, you're never gonna win anything. It's just a bad pair. Like, fuck, dude, that's just bad out there. But I do think they're gonna win more games than the Broncos. But yet again, I don't see anything promising out of the Raiders unless Derek Carr is gone and they get their quarterback, their guy. I'm sorry, Raiders fan, but that's the truth. And you also ain't gonna win shit if John Gruden is still your head coach in the next 5 years. Because I think that's how many.
He has 6 years left on his contract.
Yeah. So after this season, he'll have 5 years left. So, yeah, good luck. At number 2, I do have the Chargers. I'm a huge believer of Justin Herbert. I love Justin Herbert.
It's a good roster.
He's a great quarterback. We saw what he did last year as a rookie with the Chargers. If it wasn't for a rookie mistake, he would have beat the Chiefs twice last year. So he's definitely an up and coming quarterback that the Chiefs and any team in the AFC should really pay attention to, because I think the Chargers can definitely build around him and build a great team. So there's that. And then number 1, obviously, I don't think anybody questions this. I think the Chiefs have just overall the better talent, the better roster, the better head coach. You can put the hardest schedule on the Chiefs, and I still pick them to win that division. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think there's any more to.
Yeah, I have one team making the playoffs out of this division. We'll get to that in a minute. Number four, I have the Raiders. The Raiders are gonna fucking suck this year. The Raiders are gonna suck this year. They took a step backwards this offseason. They didn't get better. Were you expecting Henry Ruggs to become the guy? Yeah, I'm gonna go in on the Raiders. We're gonna expect Henry Ruggs and Brian Edwards. Those are your two starting receivers. Brian Edwards and Henry Ruggs. Darren Waller is their only hope, and he's gonna get all those targets. He's gonna have a great year and win 6 games tops. Because, like you said, Derek Carr. I like Derek Carr. Solid middling quarterback in this league. Talented, has a good arm. Chokes in all the big moments you need him. Cannot play in cold weather. It gets cold towards the end of the year. Every year it gets cold, guys. Derek Carr never does well in those games. So good luck. 6 wins I'm giving them. Like I said, they're banking on Brian Edwards to become a player. I like his talent. I just don't like him on this roster. Their defense is terrible. Their O-line got way worse. Josh Jacobs is not going to have holes to run through. Josh Jacobs is a talented running back, a very good running back in this league. He's stuck on a terrible roster right now. Gruden is going to lose his job in the next couple years. Period. They failed. They failed with hiring Gruden for 10 years. He's not going to finish his contract. He might lose it this offseason because they are winning. Maybe I'm giving them max. I'm being nice. I feel like 6 wins is being super nice to them right now. I think they're going to be a dumpster fire, and I think they're going to lose their jobs because they just got the new stadium. They're supposed to be becoming a good product in Vegas. It's just not going to work out. This offense does not have the pieces. And that defense, it's a terrible defense with bad offensive pieces, with no O-line, with a so-so quarterback. How are they going to win games in this division? That's getting better. This division's getting better. Denver just got better. They got a better quarterback now. I'll get to Denver. So I have Denver coming in the next spot. I like Teddy B as the quarterback for Denver because that's a very good defense over there. A young, very good, aggressive defense that wins games in one of the toughest places to play in the NFL. That defense, they gave us bouts last year, and they weren't even a good team last year. But that defense held their own against our offense last year. They made it tough for us both times we played them. But their Achilles heel was their quarterback making all those mistakes. Teddy B's not going to be that guy making all those mistakes. He's going to be boring, yeah. But they got Jerry Jeudy, they got Cortland Sutton coming back, they got Noah Fant, who's one of the best up-and-coming tight ends in this league, and they got Melvin Gordon, and they got good depth of running back, and that O-line's fairly good. And that defense is going to be. I think Denver's going to win 7 to 8 games. I give them 7 and 10. But yeah, those are the 2 bottom teams of the division. I like the Chargers. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. The only team I have making the playoffs is the Chiefs, but I have the Chargers going 9 and 8, missing the playoffs. But I do like Justin Herbert. I agree with you. Justin Herbert is he had arguably the greatest rookie season of a quarterback of all time. Like last year was incredible.
He surpassed Mahomes.
And the way he got thrown into it, like literally a few minutes before the game started, like, hey, you want to start? Yeah, like so it was like one of those random. But he took that job and ran with it, and it was so impressive. Keenan Allen's healthy. Mike Williams is healthy. Who's their running back again? I'm drawing a blank.
Eckler.
Yeah, Austin Eckler is an absolute stud, can do it all type of guy. They built a better O-line. Derwin James is back. That defense is going to be, probably the best it's been in the last couple years. Derwin James is an absolute game changer. That dude's an absolute stud, one of the best safeties in this league when healthy. Hopefully we can see him come back and be healthy, but I think that's going to be our biggest challenge in this division is the Chargers. I think they'll be good. They'll be fun, but I have them winning 9 games, going 9 and 8, and then we have the best team in football, with the best quarterback in football, with the best head coach in football, topping out this division. I have the Chiefs going 16 and 1. I love this. This is the best team, I think, in Chiefs history this year, and it's not. And look, I think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be 2016 or 2017. Was it 2017, Pat?
2018.
Oh, so 2018, it's not going to be like the electric, oh my God, the crazy big plays, all this and that. I think this is going to be a technically sound. I think we're going to go a different route. I think we're going to be, there's going to be, like you've alluded to, Lance, a lot of more running game. I think we're going to have a very balanced offense, not as electric and big plays, like I said. It's not going to be like the Rams game and all that in 2018. It's going to be just efficient. We'll have games where we have long drives that we always finish. These tight ends are going to go out there and do their thing. Pat's going to have all the time in the world to make plays. It's just going to be a very comfortable team. We're going to go into every single week like just comfortable knowing that we're going to win games. I don't know who the one loss is going to be to. I haven't picked that yet. But I am absolutely in love with this team. I think all the way around, I think Frank Clark's going to have a good year. I think Chris Jones is going to have an all-time year. Tyrann Mathieu is going to do what he does. I just think this team, and everyone knows it. I mean, the odds-on favorite to be the best team in this league is the Chiefs, and I think it's easy to know why. I think everything is just pointing up for us right now. There's no real negatives. There's no dark clouds hanging over us right now. Granted, we went through some things this offseason, but heading into this season, I'm smitten over this team right now, man. I think this is gonna be the best team we've seen in Chiefs history. There could be some teams that top this year heading forward. Who knows? But as of right now, heading into this season, I have never been more confident in a football team. I'm picking the Kansas City Chiefs to win this division, 16-1.
Let me drink the rest of this red drink real quick. That tasted like a lot of wins. So the AFC West has been one of those divisions where people are starting to really pay attention to because people are getting already sick of the Chiefs. They're trying to find that next team to rival them and figure out, who's going to be that team that can fight with the Chiefs. I'm gonna cut the chase right now. There is not a single team in this division that's going to even come close to what the Chiefs are going to do this year. No, I'm really on board with what Trevor said. I'm going to break it down though. When it comes to the Raiders, when it comes to how they've built this team, I said long ago that when they hired John Gruden, it gave me a theory, and jokingly, but almost seriously, that John Gruden took that job in Las Vegas to make sure that Patrick Mahomes never has to worry about the Raiders. Because somehow they went from having a horrible record with Cable and Del Rio to now John Gruden, who's had an even worse record. They were already a horrible team before John Gruden got there, and they've gotten worse record-wise since he's come from Oakland to now Las Vegas. Trevor, I couldn't have said it better, man. This roster was already not good last season. They've gotten worse because their one strong suit going into this offseason was their offensive line. Yeah. They found a way to fuck that up. Yep. And I don't even know why or how, but it doesn't matter. The fact is, it's horrible. And the reason why that's such a detriment for the Raiders is the fact that their quarterback has to have protection. Derek Carr, although decently mobile, not greatly mobile, but decently mobile, is one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL history. Not right now. NFL history against pressure. Yeah, he's terrible.
Throwing on the run, he's horrible.
And to Trevor's point, he has two teams in his division that he has to play annually in their homes that it gets cold in the later parts of the year. The Chiefs, they go to Arrowhead later in the year. They go to Denver later in the year. That's not going to bode well for them. And that's just I'm trying to be optimistic here. I'm trying to give the Raiders some push here. And you said that you were trying to be nice and give them 6 wins, correct? Yeah. I'm giving them less wins because this team is not good anywhere.
Yeah,
Josh Jacobs,
I see it, man.
Josh Jacobs is a really good running back. But how many times do I have to say it on this one episode? When your team is relying on a running back, you're usually not good.
With a bad O-line?
Yeah, you're usually not good. This Raiders team is going to go 5-12. Yes. They're going to go 5-12. They're not good. I don't care how bad the Raider fans out there are trying to chant for this team and champion for this team and stand for this team. I'm not standing for it. They're not good. And if they were, I'd give them their flowers. They're not good in any way. They're going to suck again. And I'm actually in disagreement with you, though. I don't think John Gruden's going anywhere until he wants to. I really believe the Raiders are going to let him work out this 10-year deal if he wants to do it. Now, do I think that's going to happen and he does all 10 years? No. Because I think he's going to get sick of losing. And he's going to want to go back to a PUD job. Dude, he's going to get a buyout.
They were trying to trade for Khalil Mack to get him back.
Who they just traded one off season ago.
That's how bad it is right now.
That's how bad it is. This team is going to be terrible. It's crazy. Now, they'll probably do the typical start off decent in the beginning of the year because their schedule isn't super difficult. But it's going to be the same each and every time as it is each and every time. When you pair up John Gruden, a losing coach, with a losing quarterback, you're going to lose.
You got John Brown asking to leave.
Now this is
got players asking to leave.
This is going to shock you guys, literally. I'm not big on the Chargers this year. Look, let's say it. Justin Herbert is a top 10 quarterback in this league. Justin Herbert was a top 10 quarterback last year. Okay, the Chargers have one of the better rosters in football. Two big problems. They're relying on Derwin James to be the guy that is the catalyst to their defense. You know how many games Derwin James has played over the last 2 years?
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
He didn't play all of last season, and he only played 5 games in 2019. So essentially, he's been out of football for 2 years. What do we know other than he's talented that he's going to bring to the table? We don't. We have no idea what Derwin James is going to be this season. I'm not banking that he's going to play all 17 games, and they're going to need him for all 17 games if they want to have a playoff push. Keenan Allen, damn good receiver. Is he going to be enough on the offensive side, even with Eckler playing out of the backfield? They have a shaky offensive line as well. They did rebuild it. I will give them credit. But we don't know how good the offensive line is going to be.
They lost Hunter Henry. Yeah.
The biggest issue for this team, you guys already know I'm not big on defensive-minded head coaches. Well, I'm also not big on defensive-minded head coaches that are unproven. Brandon Staley was a damn good defensive coordinator with the Rams. Who the fuck wouldn't be? That defense is stacked. Yeah. No offense to Brandon Staley. I'm sure he's a good defensive coordinator. Do we know he's going to be a good head coach? We saw Wade Phillips, one of the greatest defensive coordinators of all time, be a head coach 2 or 3 times in his career, and he was terrible. How do we know Brandon Staley isn't just the next? We've seen it time and time again in this league. Now, the saving grace for Brandon Staley is, again, he does have a top 10 quarterback with a really good, talented offense. They're probably going to win games based on that alone. But do I have faith that Brandon Staley is going to be the difference maker from just last season when they were a disappointment again? I know everyone hypes them up like they hype the Cowboys up on the NFC side, but like the Cowboys, they always disappoint. So until the Chargers show me that they can withstand an entire schedule, let alone a 17-game schedule, I'm not buying them. I think they're going to win some games because of Herbert alone, but they got a tough schedule. They have a tough schedule, and I'm not banking they're going to make the playoffs. I have them at 8 and 9. Look, I think even my own self underrates the Broncos roster. This Broncos team was a quarterback away last year from being a playoff team. Drew Lock fucked them over so bad. And that's considering how bad of a coach I believe Vic Fangio is. Another defensive-minded head coach. I don't believe he's a legitimate head coach in this league. But the moment I knew they signed Teddy Bridgewater, I knew the Drew Lock experiment was over, as we've talked about on the show before. Teddy Bridgewater is the type of quarterback that this team needed. You guys remember back in the 2015 season when the Vikings won, was it 11-5 or 12-4? They had the number 1 defense in the NFC, and they made the playoffs. And had it not been for a horrific kick, they'd have been in the NFC Championship that season. Yep. I think Teddy Bridgewater is still as good as he was 5, 6 years ago. He's completely healthy. He's the type of quarterback that's out here trying to fight for his NFL career. He's not even 30 years old yet. I think he's going to be the difference maker because he's going to take away all those interceptions Drew Lock. By the way, Drew Lock, who missed multiple games last season, still led the league in interceptions last year. Drew Lock's not going to throw half the interceptions that Drew Lock threw last season.
Teddy Bridgewater, yeah.
Teddy Bridgewater. Mm-hmm. Teddy Bridgewater's not going to throw a ton of touchdowns. They're not going to need that, though. They're a type of offense that likes to run the ball. That's how they're going to play offense. They're going to play very vanilla. That's not going to win them games. You know what's going to win them games? This proven defense. This defense was one of the best in the league last season, and they got better this offseason. This is going to be a nasty defense. Yep. You want to talk about the Patriots defense? You want to talk about the Dolphins defense? This Broncos defense is going to be right up there with them. I would be shocked. Yes, I would be shocked if this defense is not top 5 this season. I think it's going to be top 5, and it's going to win them a ton of games this year. I have the Broncos finishing second in this division at 9 and 8. They're going to be a very vanilla, not exciting team, like Trevor said. They're still going to win games. I'm big on the Broncos. I think they're going to be a good team.
I almost picked them over the Chargers, too. They're only 1 game lower than them, but yeah.
There's one team in this division that's going to make the playoffs, and we know who that team is. It's the team that resides at One Arrowhead Drive. There's nothing I need to really say because everybody already knows. Some people are sick of it. Some people are already tired, and you got the Mahomes fatigue and all these things. It's real. The Chiefs last season, despite all their deficiencies on offensive line and scares that they had with Patrick Mahomes' turf toe, still got to the Super Bowl with relative ease. They smoked the Bills. They went 14-1 in games that mattered last season. And by the way, let me just add a little thing about the Chargers and why I don't believe them. I want to throw this out here because it actually ties into what I'm saying about the Chiefs. The Chargers beat one playoff team last year. Do you guys know that? The Chargers beat one playoff team last year. You know who that playoff team was?
Who's that?
The Chiefs in Week 17 when they rested their starters. Okay? The Chiefs aren't going to have that type of situation for themselves because of the fact, I think, the Chiefs are the type of team that now looks at it and says, okay, we got smoked in the Super Bowl, but we got there. They get better in the offseason at the place they needed to get better at more than any other position. I think they had an incredible draft. I think Willie Gay, when he gets back, is going to take that next step. I'm with Trevor. I think Nick Bolton's going to be an unbelievable player. Maybe not immediately, but progressively.
Future, yeah.
Anthony Hitchens is playing for his next contract. Chris Jones is playing defensive end, which I think is actually his natural position, if we're being honest. And he's going to look for another contract as a defensive end. Yeah. Tyrann Mathieu looking for another contract, which he's going to get. It's just a matter of time. All the offensive players, Clyde Edwards-Helaire getting a chance to actually have an offseason with OTAs, preseason, behind a stacked offensive line. Orlando Brown Jr. is looking for a contract. Joe Thuney got paid. Best offensive lineman maybe in the NFL at his position. Yep. You have Trey Smith, Creed Humphrey, Lucas Niang, all looking to prove themselves to protect the best player in the world in Patrick Mahomes. Andy Reid getting an opportunity to prove his worth again with a 4 tight end position, 14 personnel. This team is loaded not only with talent, not only with motivating factors, but a team that's willing to do whatever it takes to win. They have maybe the most complete team in football. And that's including the Buccaneers. That's including the Rams. That's including the 49ers. Did I say Rams, right? Yeah.
No, Browns too.
And the Browns.
Yeah.
The Chiefs might have the most complete team in the NFL because I didn't even mention Travis Kelce. I didn't even mention Tyreek Hill. I didn't mention these guys. Not to mention McCole Hardman is going to prove himself this season because he knows he has to. There's no choice. If he doesn't, the Chiefs are moving on. The Chiefs are going to go 15-2. And the only reason why I have the Chiefs having 2 losses is because I think if we're living in reality here, there's going to be that one loss where you're like, that was frustrating, man. It was like they could have won that game. It just they didn't execute it. There's always that game. And I think it's going to be at Washington. I think it's week 6. Because Washington is a worthy opponent. It's going to be in their stadium with their home crowd. I don't know if that's going to be the factor, but I think it's just because that defense is so stout. I think they're going to slow the Chiefs' offense down just enough, and they're going to have one key play. And maybe it's a turnover, a blocked field goal, blocked punt, something like that. It's going to be frustrating. And we're going to get on the show and vent about it, be all pissed off for a week.
So you're down on the Chiefs is what you're saying.
Yeah. I'm a total guys, I'm a total downer on this team. I'm like Adam Teicher
2
over
losses?
here. I'm like Adam Teicher over here. I'm just shitting on this team constantly. But that's the one real loss I have them losing. But here's my biggest prediction. So we all know that the Chiefs have a current winning streak against the Broncos.
Yep.
They play them twice, obviously this season. I think they beat them the first time. But I think in the week 18 matchup against the Broncos, the Chiefs have already locked up division weeks ago. I think they're going to rest their starters. I think the Broncos finally snap that streak at 12 games.
Let them have it.
They're going to let them have that win. And I think that's the only loss the Chiefs obviously lose in the division and in the conference. So it's going to solidify the AFC. And I think they're going to win the AFC by 3 games over the Ravens and Browns. Or the Ravens and Bills. So...
I have them going 16-1. What if the Chiefs? Because I have my loss for them going later in the season. Like as if we already locked in a spot. But if we're undefeated, do you think Andy Reid goes for the full undefeated record?
100%.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
if the Chiefs are 17-0 going or 16-0 going into Week 18, they were 100% going for that undefeated streak. Yeah. You can't do that. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Imagine Pat having that on his resume. If Pat has that on his resume with everything else already,
and you already know he's talked about the 20-0.
Yeah. That's the goal.
If this team gets there,
that's the goal.
I'm not expecting it because, like I said, I think they're going to have a middle. I think they'll start the season 5-0, and I think it is Week 6 they play Washington at Washington. If that was in Arrowhead, I'd probably pick the Chiefs still. And maybe my record would replicate yours, but I think that they're going to lose one game in the middle of the season, like they always do. Yeah. The Raiders game last year was frustrating, but they lost it. Whatever. I think they get one real loss, and after that, it's the sympathy victory for the Broncos at the end of the season to get them. And also, the Broncos are going to be playing for something because they're still going to be in playoff. In my prediction, they're still going to be fighting for a playoff spot at 8-8 going into that last game.
They gave us Fitz last year. Why would they not do that with Teddy B this year?
Right. So I think that's how that's going to go, and I have the Chiefs as my 1 seed. I have the Ravens as my 2 seed. The Bills as my 3. Then we have the Titans to finish it off in the divisional winners at number 4. My number 5 team is the Browns. My number 6 is the Dolphins, and my number 7 is the Patriots. So now we need to go to our NFC wild card. Yes, it's officially now the playoff prediction.
Oh, shit.
Oh, yeah. The meat and potatoes. Here we come. NFC wild card. Eddie, how do you see those 3 games going?
I got the NFC ranking like this. I got 1 Rams, 2 Bucks, 3 Packers, 4 Eagles, 5 49ers, 6 Seattle, and 7 the Saints. In the NFC wild card, I got the Bucks going against the Saints. That's going to be easy dub for the Bucks. And then I got Packers-Seattle. It's going to be a phenomenal game. It's going to be a great game, but I think Aaron Rodgers is going to do his thing and push the Packers through. So I got the Packers winning that game. And then lastly, I have Eagles-49ers. I got the 49ers rolling through those Eagles like it ain't shit. So that's my NFC.
All right, yeah. So my ranking shakeout, my seeding is, so obviously number 1 seed I got the Bucks, 2 seed I got the Rams, 3 seed I had the Packers, 4 seed I had the Niners, 5 seed is Washington, and the 6 seed is Seattle.
7. You're missing one.
Oh, and then let me see where my 7 seed is. Oh, then the Dallas Cowboys would be my 7th seed. So yeah, I'm still getting used to that the extra team in there, man. So the wild card round I have going as so. I have number 2 Rams beating the number 7 Cowboys, the number 3 Packers beating the number 6 Seahawks, and the number 4 Niners beating the number 5 Washington.
I like it, guys. I'm going to disagree in a lot of those, but I think that it's okay because the NFC wildcard to me, because of the fact that the football team took my number 2 seed, I'm so big on this team. I think they're going to beat the Bears in round 1, the number 7 seed Bears in round 1. My number 3 Packers will beat the Seattle Seahawks, who are the number 6 seed, because it's going to be in Green Bay. I would have switched that had it been Seattle because it's in Lambeau. I'm going to pick the Packers in that one. I have the Buccaneers losing in the first round. I have the Rams hosting the Bucks. I'm sorry, no, going to Tampa Bay. I apologize.
So who was your number 1 seed in the NFC?
The 49ers.
Oh, okay, that's right. Okay.
So I have the number 5 Rams going on the road and beating Tampa in Tampa. I think they have the perfect defense.
I can definitely
and Matt
see that.
Stafford and that offense are going to go in there. It's going to be an ugly mashup game. But I have the Rams going in there knocking out the defending champs in round fucking
I love it.
1.
I love it.
AFC wildcard, Eddie, how do you see it shaking
All
down?
right, man. My AFC rankings or seedings, they go like as follows: 1 Chiefs, 2 Bills, 3 Browns, 4 Titans, 5 Ravens, 6 Steelers, and 7 Chargers. My AFC wild card, I got Bills, Chargers. I'm picking the Bills, easy money. Browns, Steelers, I'm taking the Browns. We saw what they did last season. I think they're gonna do it again this year. I think they have a way better team than they did last year. I think the Browns are gonna beat the Steelers. And then lastly, I have Titans versus Ravens. I got the Ravens winning against the Titans. So there's my 3.
All right, so my let's see. So the wild card, I have the number 2 Bills going against the number 7 Colts. I have them beating the Colts. I have the number 4 Titans beating the number 5 Ravens, which would be a repeat or would be a flip flop of last year when the Ravens actually beat the Titans. And then I have the number 3 Browns beating the number 6 Steelers.
You have I think it's 3. All 3 of those are rematches.
Yeah.
Bills and Broncos.
I have it
or
similar to
Bills and
last year.
Colts, yeah. Okay. My AFC wild card picture goes as so. I have the number 2 seed Ravens beating the number 7 Patriots. I have the number 3 seed Bills beating the number 6 Dolphins because they own that ass. And then to wrap up that wild card on the AFC side, I have the number 4 Titans actually overcoming the number 5 Browns. So I have both the Buccaneers and Browns exiting in the first round. NFC divisional. Eddie, what's up, man?
NFC divisional. Okay, so we got number 1 Rams against the 49ers. I'm taking the Rams all day, every day against the 49ers. And then I also have Bucks Packers, which is going to be a rematch from the NFC Championship last year.
Nice.
And I think the Packers are gonna do their business, and I think they're gonna eliminate the Bucks.
Let's go.
All right.
So my first matchup, I have the number 2 Rams versus the number 3 Packers, and I have the Rams beating the Packers. And then I have the number 1 Buccaneers beating the number 4 49ers.
I don't like that. So my NFC divisional, I have the number 1 seed 49ers actually beating the Rams for a 3rd time in one season, which extends Shanahan's record against McVay in a very shocking manner. But I think that's what's going to happen because they're going to host that game, and I think that place is going to be on fire. I have the Washington football team advancing to the NFC Championship.
I love it, man.
And they beat the Packers in Washington.
I love it.
I think it's going to be another ugly game. They pressure Rodgers all night long and win an ugly, close game at home and advance to the NFC Championship against the 1 seed 49ers. AFC divisional. Eddie, how do you see it going?
All right, man. AFC divisional. I got Chiefs Ravens in the one of the games. I obviously have the Chiefs. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be beautiful. Patrick Mahomes gonna go out there, do his business.
That would be, by the way, the first time that Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson would face in the playoffs. Yeah.
And I think Patrick Mahomes is gonna get that 1-0 on Lamar Jackson this time around. And then I also have Bills Browns. I am picking the Browns to take down the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo.
Ooh.
Nice, man. Nice.
That's a bold one. I like that.
I like it. I got the Chiefs versus the Titans. I got the Chiefs beating the Titans. And then I got the Bills versus the Browns as well. And I had the better team, which is the Bills beating the Browns.
Look at you guys over here at the opposite sides of this. I like it. Okay, so my 1 seed Chiefs are going to smother the number 4 seed Titans, so I'm with you on that as well, Trevor. Yeah. And then this is going to shock you guys. I have the Ravens advancing to the AFC Championship. They're hosting the Bills, and I think they get the revenge because as we saw that game last year in the divisional round, the Bills hosted the Ravens that time and roasted the Ravens that time. Lamar Jackson was complete shit. They only put up 3 points.
Because they're better.
Was it 17? Yeah, it was 17
That's why.
to 3. It was 17 to 3. This time around, though, Baltimore will have their home
Still
crowd.
better.
I think Lamar Jackson, because again, the pressure's not on Lamar, at least in a optic standpoint, when people are expecting the Browns to be that team. I think Lamar Jackson surprises fools, even myself, a guy that I'm not big on him. You guys know I'm a fan of Lamar Jackson, but I think because of the fact that he still hasn't gotten that contract extension, he's going to go out there and try to prove himself. That defense is going to carry the load. I think Josh Allen makes a couple mistakes, and they turn the tide, and the Ravens beat the Bills and advance to the AFC Championship against the Chiefs. NFC Championship, Eddie.
Oh, man. NFC Championship. I got Aaron Rodgers facing off against Matt Stafford. And I have Aaron Rodgers, sadly, not making the Super Bowl.
Oh, you got Matt Stafford in his first
Matt
Super Bowl.
Stafford the Rams last year were a quarterback away from making a deep run in the playoffs, and I think they could have easily made it to the Super Bowl last year had they had a great quarterback.
Yeah, I have the big NFC Championship showdown between the Rams and the Bucks, and I got the Rams waxing that ass.
Who would have thought? Literally, think about this, guys. Of us three, I would be the only one that didn't pick the Rams to make the Super Bowl. I'm the Matt Stafford guy here. And I'm not picking him to get
I've
to the
been
Super
high
Bowl.
since that signing. I've been high on them all the way.
This is unbelievable.
I mean, you're picking Trey Lance over.
I can't.
This is unbelievable.
For Matthew Stafford.
What has happened? I'm gonna look like a fucking genius or a fucking moron at the end of this season. I know that. It's
the latter.
Hell or high water for me, boys. It is hell or high water because I have the 49ers beating the Washington football team to get to the Super Bowl for the second time in 3 years. Book it.
So you have Trey Lance and Ryan Fitzpatrick in the
That's
NFC
right.
Championship.
It is going to be one of those seasons, boys and girls.
Okay.
Strap in Trey Lance versus Ryan Fitzpatrick in the NFC Championship. My dude who shares my name, just on the opposite side from first and last name. Trey Lance gets the Super Bowl, gets the 49ers back to where they belong, back to prominence, back to the Super Bowl to face the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Eddie, what is your Super Bowl matchup and who wins?
We didn't do AFC one. The AFC Championship.
Did I mess that up already? Well, I already gave mine away. So AFC Championship, Eddie. Who's in your AFC Championship?
Oh, my AFC Championship is Chiefs Browns.
Rematch.
Billy Hodges, you listening? Because I want you to listen closely.
Look into the camera. Get intimate with it, Eddie.
Billy.
Billy. I have.
You just pause it for a second.
The Kansas City Chiefs making the Super Bowl.
Yeah. As you should. Yeah, AFC Championship game, I have the rematch between the Chiefs and the Bills. I have the Chiefs, baby. Simple.
I gave Lamar Jackson a ton of praise. I said he's finally going to get himself a deep playoff push, which is going to ultimately get him a long contract extension.
I hope we get the Ravens.
Chiefs are going to beat the Ravens by 20 points in the AFC Championship.
I was going to say, I hope we get the Ravens in the AFC Championship game. I'll take that over the Bills. Shit.
Think about it. I mean, they smoked that game wasn't even close last year. It was 38 to 24.
Yeah.
The Bills scored a couple late garbage time points. The Chiefs really won that game by 20 points. I think it's going to be the same against the Ravens this year and expose them because they're a blitz first defense and Patrick Mahomes picks his teeth with blitz first defenses. Super Bowl champion Super Bowl matchup. How's it go, Eddie?
Man, I got the Rams against the Chiefs in L.A. Where we got back-to-back hosting cities having their teams represent them
How cool would
in
that
the
be?
Super Bowl. This is going to be a matchup of the ages. It's going to be a phenomenal game. I think Patrick Mahomes, Matt Stafford are going to just be trading blows back and forth. Defenses are going to make those key stops. It's going to be such a close game. It's going to be a great game. But I do have Billy Hodge.
Look at the game.
Billy.
Do you have the Kansas City Chiefs winning the Super Bowl this next year?
Super Bowl 56, baby. Yeah, I got the Chiefs versus the Rams. This is, I feel like this feels like this is destined to me. This matchup just feels destined. The matchup is about as equal as you can get, with the Chiefs making the proper moves they made, the Rams upgrading what they needed to do at the most important position, unlocking that offense in my mind. I think the offense is going to be bananas this year. Both defenses are great. Or I think the Chiefs' defense is going to be much improved. The Rams' defense has already been great, with the best defensive player in the league on their side. But I think with this new improved offensive line, I just think Patrick Mahomes is doing what he does. Road, home, it doesn't matter. I got the Chiefs winning 34-27 in Super Bowl 56 against the Rams.
You know, you're right. It does feel like destiny that the Chiefs and Rams would face, just because of the fact the way the Rams are built and the fact they had that unfinished business game in 2018. You felt like that should have been the Super Bowl matchup at that time. Yep. I think that would be the best matchup outside of a Buccaneers rematch for the Chiefs. The issue is, I think that in the NFL, as we all know, is that sometimes when matchups seem too good to be true, they usually don't happen, because we saw with Rodgers and Mahomes multiple times, never faced off, and they may not face off this year, and they know they play this season, but who knows what's going to happen around that time. I swear we can never get the State Farm Bowl. And I know that the Buccaneers and that rematch would sound so awesome too. I just don't think the Buccaneers are going to get there. And neither do I think with the Rams, because I am so high on the 49ers, and maybe that will blow up in my face.
It will.
I just know how good this roster is, how great this roster is, and when they get an opportunity to have a great quarterback, which I believe Trey Lance will become, I think that's how it's going to go, man. And I have this is actually going to be a game very similar to the Super Bowl. Of Super Bowl 54 when the Chiefs won. I think it's going to be a very similar style of game, because I think Shanahan saw that they had a few really golden opportunities to win that game. They were leading by 10 points going into the fourth quarter. They should have probably won that game in some regard.
It's a heroics.
And I think it's going to be because the matchup is still so equal, and that I think the 49ers are going to have an advanced quarterback. This is going to be actually a tougher game for the Chiefs this time around than last time around. Now, Patrick Mahomes will be going to his third Super Bowl, so there's more of an experience factor, which is going to be the ultimate deciding factor in this one. I think Trey Lance makes a late mistake in the game, throws a horrific pick or a fumble, anything like that. Basically, what I'm saying is, because of the fact we've been hyping the Chiefs defense up this year, I think it's going to pay dividends late in the season. I think Chris Jones, and I want to mark this down, I think Chris Jones makes the play of the game in this Super Bowl. I think he cements himself as a Chiefs Hall of Famer, as an NFL Hall of Famer in this game, because he has a breakout moment in this game. But Patrick Mahomes is going to throw for over 400 yards in this game. I think Patrick Mahomes throws for over 400 yards. Remember the game against the Titans? It's just going to be a different outcome, where he threw for 446 yards and 3 touchdowns. I think that's the type of game Patrick Mahomes is going to have in this one. I think he's going to carve out late in the game. That 49ers is going to get worn out, because that front of the Chiefs is going to wear out Nick Bosa and those guys in the front. Going to wear them out again, just like they did the last time, and you're going to see the Chiefs have that late push into the game. I even see the Niners having to lead deep into this game. I'm being dead serious. I think this is going to be a close one. I think the Chiefs are going to win this game 31-26. It's going to be a late game, 5-point victory. Chris Jones has a humongous game, but ultimately Patrick Mahomes wins Super Bowl MVP. Who do you guys have winning Super Bowl MVP?
Patrick Mahomes.
Mahomes.
Okay. So that is our official predictions when it comes to the regular season and the playoffs and how we see it going. We all three have the Chiefs going and winning the Super Bowl. Trevor and Eddie have the Rams in the Super Bowl. We all three have NFC West teams in the Super Bowl, though, and I don't think that's much of a shock.
Last year we all had the Seahawks and Chiefs, right?
We did. Yeah. We like the NFC West. We like the AFC West too, man. We're just the West Side boys over here. But I do want to get your guys. I know I was hosting these as well. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Eddie. Who do you have?
Offensive Rookie of the Year. I have Najee Harris from the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think
that's a good pick.
I think he's gonna carry the Steelers to some wins this year. I do think they're gonna rely a little too much on him. Hopefully nothing bad happens to him. Hopefully he doesn't get wear and tear. But I think he's gonna have a great season this year.
That's a good pick. I love him, man. Yeah. If they're gonna ride him too much, that's the thing. My offensive rookie of the year is Trevor Lawrence, man. I think Trevor Lawrence is gonna put up some good numbers this year. I think he's gonna lead them to 6 or 7 wins, and that's gonna be impressive enough. I think him and Laviska, keep an eye on him and Laviska Shenault. I think him and Laviska Shenault is a sneaky little good duo. I'm talking more to my fantasy people right now because in real life football, it's not going to be that great. But I think Trevor Lawrence is going to do what it takes to win that title this year, to win that as the offensive rookie of the year. And I think typically most quarterbacks, especially in this class, I would say most of these young quarterbacks have the best chance. Because like if Trey Lance happens to do what Lance thinks he's going to do, and goes to the fucking Super Bowl, I think he's going to win that. So, not to spoil or take your thunder if that's your case, but I think Trevor Lawrence is the guy.
Well, you did steal my thunder, but it's okay because I like hearing it from someone else besides me because I'm starting to feel like a mental
Trey
patient
Lance,
here.
dude.
I think Trey Lance is going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year because I think he's going to take over. Look, it's not about when you go, it's where you go.
Yeah.
And of all these rookie quarterbacks,
best position
no
for
one is.
sure.
Yeah, he's in the best position by far.
No doubt.
And when you have that type of, it's the same thing with Patrick Mahomes, guys. And I'm not trying to compare Trey Lance to Patrick Mahomes. That's completely unfair. But you look at the way that Patrick Mahomes, how similar and how parallel their situations are. The Niners were a playoff team last year. They just didn't have a quarterback and they had all these injuries. The Chiefs all these years have been playoff teams and Super Bowl contenders. They were just missing that prolific quarterback. The Niners are finally getting that. And I think that when you see Trey Lance in this offense in real games and the composure he has and the talent he has, the skill set he has, it's going to translate. I think he's going to have upwards of 30 touchdowns this season. I think he wins Offensive Rookie of the Year. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Eddie.
I'm going to have to give it to Michael Parsons for the Cowboys. I think he's going to have a good season. Though this defense might struggle a little bit, I think he's going to be a standout just for the same reason. I think he's going to stand out more because the Dallas Cowboys defense is not going to be as great as people might think. So he's gonna pop out. He's gonna get his sacks. He's gonna get. So I got Michael Parsons.
That's a good pick, man. I like that guy a lot. I'm going with Patrick Surtain Jr. for the Denver Broncos. I think I loved that pick. He's an absolute game changer. Adding on him into that mix with the Bradley Chubbs and Von Miller's still there, I think that's a perfect position for him to be in. Because I think Fangio, say what you want about it, him being a head coach, he's a good defensive guy. I think him coming into that mix in that defensive room with the Von Millers and the Bradley Chubbs and these other guys that have been there, and that Denver always breeds good defensive players, man. They always their defense. I mean, they've had some rough years, but typically they always have legitimate Pro Bowlers in their defense every single year. And I think Patrick Surtain has that future resume on him moving forward in his career. And I think he's going to be a baller this year. He was a baller all through college. He's got it in his veins, man. His dad was a stud in this league as well. So I'm going with Patrick Surtain Jr.
It's funny is I actually picked both your guys' at one point this offseason when I was looking through this. I picked both your guys at one point. The problem why I went off of both of them is because the Cowboys defense I think is going to be atrocious, and it's going to be hard for them to pick a defensive rookie of the year on a bad defense. So I think that's why Mike Parsons is going to have a great season. I really do believe that. He'll probably lead his team in tackles. I think he's going to have a really good year, but I just think it's going to be difficult for them to pick him. With Surtain, the problem with that is I do agree with you, Trevor. I think he has all those capabilities. I think he's a legacy player, all these things.
Day one starter, too.
The problem is he plays in the Chiefs division. I think they're going to expose him multiple times in these two games.
That's 2 times.
And he also faces Justin Herbert. I think there's going to be some games where Surtain shows he's a rookie and he's going to give up touchdowns, and it's going to be hard for him to pick that when he gives up those types of touchdowns. And I think he gets exposed. But I really do like his trajectory.
But I'm saying he gets to play in front.
Yeah.
Or behind a defensive line with Von Miller and Bradley Chubb. He's going to benefit off that.
I'm going to go with Jamin Davis, dude. I think that Jamin Davis out of Washington is going to be next to Chase Young. I think they're going to have the number one defense in football this season, and I think Jamin Davis is going to be one of the big reasons why.
2 consecutive defensive rookie player of the year.
Yes. Guys,
that defense.
You want to talk? You talk about Vic Fangio and the Broncos always building great defensive players and defenses. Ron Rivera is the exact same way. Yeah. You saw him with Luke Kuechly and these guys throughout the years, man. I think Ron Rivera's got himself something special. He may even have the best defenses he's ever had in his career in Washington. I think Jamin Davis is going to be one of the biggest reasons. Offensive Player of the Year this year for you, Eddie?
Offensive Player of the Year. I got to give it to Travis Kelce, man. Player of the year.
Okay.
I think this year he's going to break his own record again. I think he's going to have over 1,400 yards this season. I think him and Mahomes,
I love it.
I think him and Mahomes are just going to connect. I think him and Mahomes are just going to fucking eat defenses alive, and that's also gonna help Tyreek Hill get open, all that stuff. But I do think Travis Kelce's gonna have another record year this year.
I love that. That's a good man. That's not even a hot take because he could have done it last year if he played all 16. If Kelce would have played all 16 games last year, he'd have led the league in receiving yards. So it's not a bad pick, Eddie. I like that.
Yeah. So my dark horse team, we went down and broke down all our records. My dark horse team is the Carolina Panthers, and I think the biggest part of that is Christian McCaffrey coming back. I wanted to call him my comeback player of the year. He's my offensive player of the year, Christian McCaffrey. I think he's going to be damn near. I think he's going to be a damn near 1,000 guy. I think he's going to have 12 plus touchdowns, probably more than that. Maybe 12 just through the air, and then maybe another 8 or 9 on the ground. This guy is just he's a different breed, man. This guy, the way he's come back from injury, the way he's built, the way he's preparation, his ability to make guys miss. He's a generational talent at the running back position with wide receiver abilities. He's incredible. So I think his number is going to be outrageous this year with Darnold. I think that offense is going to be great. And he's got 2 field stretchers and DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson that'll open up the middle for the dink and dunks and the check down passes for him. I think he's going to absolutely just rack up the yards, touchdowns, catches, everything. I think he's just going to do it all this year. So I'm giving it to Christian McCaffrey.
I wanted to go with Christian McCaffrey really bad, but the problem is we know that the quarterback position always gets first dibs on any type of award. And because of the fact that I think Lamar Jackson's going to have an MVP-esque season like he did in 2019, but he's not going to win MVP this year, in my opinion. I think they're going to give him the knockdown award, and I think it's going to be Offensive Player of the Year. I think Lamar Jackson, because he lost J.K. Dobbins, they have Sammy Watkins and Bateman already injured as it is. He rises above that, plays really well, wins that division that everyone's giving the Browns right now. That's going to give him the nod to win Offensive Player of the Year this year for me. So I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson. Defensive Player of the Year, Eddie.
I'm going to have to give it to T.J. Watt, man.
I like it.
I think T.J. Watt's probably one of the best in the game right now, if not the best. I think him and Sam Darnold are...
We've seen that dude take over games by himself.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think both of them are up there. They're both generational talents. They're both their own... Their own beast.
Led the league in sacks last year, I believe, too.
He's incredible. He's incredible.
I think he should have won it last year, but
he had a case.
He had a case. And I think this year, because he knows he should have won it last year, I think he's gonna come in with that vengeance. He's gonna want that recognition, and I think he's gonna get it this year.
Yeah, for me, man, this is kind of a layup for me. I think it's Myles Garrett. I think Myles Garrett's going to have an absolute... I mean, he had an insane year last year, but I just think this year is just destined for him to... His number, because what he's surrounded with, too, the addition of other talented guys around him now, I just think Myles Garrett is just going to absolutely unleash. He's completely healthy this year. No setbacks. I mean, if he gets injured mid-year, so be it, but I just think he's destined. I think this is his year. This is his peak year right here. I think he's going to peak this season. I think he's going to have outrageous numbers.
God, both your guys' picks are awesome, man, and I can really see both those guys getting it. Crazy enough, and we did not talk before this show. We've had all different picks in every single one of these categories so far. Look, man, I have to stress it more and more that I am so big on Washington in the season. And I think that Chase Young,
I almost picked him.
Defensive Rookie of the Year last year,
him.
takes that next step. Guys, I think he is like Lawrence Taylor great. I know that, and I know they play different positions technically, but I think he's one of those guys we're going to look back and go, that is one of the greatest defensive players of all time. You can go with Aaron Donald, of course. Maybe the greatest defensive lineman of all time. You can go with Myles Garrett. Maybe the best defensive lineman right now. You can go with T.J. Watt. Maybe the best pass rusher in the NFL right now. But Chase Young, to me, embodies something of all three of those guys. He has a relentless body. He is super durable. He has an insane motor. And he's young as shit. And he has a ton of talent around him. I think this dude has a real shot of leading the league in sacks this year. And in fact, I think he can go for Michael Strahan's record this year. I really think think about it. He plays in a division where they have quarterbacks that he can just eat for lunch all game long. Yeah. I can see games where he gets 3 or 4 sacks in a single game. That's how good Chase Young's going to be this year.
Especially with the addition of how this offense is. I think Washington's offense is going to be really good.
Yes.
If they build some leads and they just allow him to pin his ears back and just go in.
And if the Washington is like I think they're going to be, and I have a 12-win season, and Chase Young being their best player, I think we could see something where he actually gets MVP votes this season because he's going to be the best player on a team that wins a division and is one of the top seeds in the NFC. I really think Chase Young is going to have a stellar season. I'm picking him to win Defensive Player of the Year.
I love it.
Coach of the Year. I want to get your guys' Coach of the Year.
My Coach of the Year, I'm going to give it to Sean McVay. Taking the Rams to a Super Bowl in what, 3-4 years? back to 2 Super Bowls.
He won in the year they won the Super Bowl too, I think, right? Yeah, in 2018. Yeah.
And he's gonna win it again. I think him, getting Matt Stafford and build that team again to go back and obviously compete for another championship. Dude, I'm gonna have to give it to Sean McVay.
I wanted to go there so bad because of what I think. Well, obviously, our expectations are similar for them making the Super Bowl. But what edged out our coach in Kansas City, Andy Reid, for me, is the fact that I have us going 16-1, and I have us being the best offense of all time as far as efficiency goes.
Okay.
I think that's what edges out Andy Reid this year, because Andy Reid's made it very clear we're going to do some things we've never done before. I think Andy Reid's got a whole shit ton of stuff up his sleeve this year. I think we're going to do
especially with four tight
the 4
ends?
tight ends. I'm telling you, I think our struggle last year. We talked about this. Our struggles last year was in the red zone. Do you know how many touchdowns we left on the field last year? Way too many. I think we're going to average like 34, 35 points a game this year, dude. I think we're going to just absolutely. Our offense is going to be bonkers. I
haven't heard that word in a long time.
I'm telling you.
Bonkers. I like that.
Yeah, I reached
like
down
that.
in the bag deep for that one. Bonkers, dude. I'm telling you,
Bonkers.
this offense is going to be unreal. I think us going 16-1 is going to be the one the fact that edges out Andy Reid. It's going to be impossible for anyone to vote for anybody else this year. I think Andy Reid is going to have this team clicking on all cylinders with this new O-line, the tight end depth, the trickery, the running game, just everything that is leading into the season and what I'm envisioning us to become this year is just going to be an unstoppable force. And I think it's going to force the hand of everybody to vote for Andy Reid as head coach of the year.
I'll say this right now. If your scenario plays out the way it does, and let's say the Rams get to the Super Bowl and have the top seed, I think you have them as the top seed, right? Then he will win. He will win Coach of the Year. If Andy Reid goes 16-1, he will win Coach of the Year. But because of the fact that I don't have either one of those scenarios playing out, I'm not picking either one of those guys. I'm picking Kyle Shanahan because of the fact that I think because look at all the pressure that's on him right now. He gets all his guys back. He has a young quarterback that people don't know for sure. There's a lot of differing opinions on what Trey Lance is going to be and Jimmy Garoppolo, who's going to start all these things. He puts this together and puts all these critics to bed and gets this team right back to where it looks like, the only thing that's held Kyle Shanahan back over the last 3 years is an injury-prone or an injured team and Jimmy Garoppolo. Well, he got rid of both, and now he's back in the Super Bowl. He's going to win Coach of the Year if that's how it plays out. So I love your guys' picks and your scenarios. In my scenario, though, neither one of those guys I think win it. I think that it's going to be Kyle Shanahan in my scenario. Now, I want to do comeback player of the year as well because I think that is an important one. I feel there's a very easy name out there to get this one, but I want to hear your guys's.
I'm going to give it to Dak Prescott just for the simple fact coming back from a significant injury that it is breaking your leg or breaking any bone in general.
Yeah.
Coming back and, I think he's going to have a good year. I think he might not be as good as he was last year, but he's going to be good. He might not because I'm sure he's gonna get that little scared bug that was like, oh fuck, I don't want to do it. Or
He's a fearless guy, man. I'll give him that.
Yeah, those injuries change people sometimes, man. You don't because you already broke it once. That shit can happen again.
We're talking about the guy that literally his foot was facing the opposite way and he tried to snap it back into on the field as it happened. This guy's not. He's a trip.
Yeah,
man.
but I think Yeah, I mean that's the easiest choice out there. I don't think there's anybody else.
Yeah, it's Dak Prescott for me as well. I wanted to, like I said, give it to Christian McCaffrey because he came back. He's going to be coming back, and I think he's going to come back with a vengeance. The main reason I give it to Dak Prescott is because of who the Dallas Cowboys are, the clout they have, the fan base they have, the fan base within the sports realm as far as all the talking heads. There's still, the Cowboys fandom runs through and through sports media and everyone. So I think a lot of the votes internally and obviously externally with all the fans is going to lean towards, in the story and the way it happened, the emotional exit of Dak Prescott. And if he comes back and he's even a semblance of resembles anything of what he was last year and the pace he was on, it's not even going to be close. It's going to be a landslide for Dak Prescott. And I think he'll win it outright just because I think he's going to do well barring his health. And I think that offense is set up to be fireworks this year. So he should definitely win it.
If Dak Prescott plays this entire season, he is 100% winning this award just because of that alone. Everything you guys both broke down, there's nothing more I can add to it. I wanted to go with Christian McCaffrey because I feel like he's going to have a great season. But let's be real, guys. As I said, quarterbacks always get first dibs on these types of awards. And I don't think it really matters how well Christian McCaffrey plays this year. Unless the Panthers go on some Super Bowl run, I don't think he has a shot against Dak Prescott. I think it's about as much nails as it was for Alex Smith last year. And we saw that Alex Smith didn't play the whole season. He still won it because of all the things he overcome. Well, it's not to the same magnitude as far as what Dak's come back from, but he's come back from a shit ton this offseason. He even plays decent at all and plays the majority of this season. I'm talking like 15, 16 games. He doesn't have to play the full season. He just plays 15, 16 games. He is 100% winning this. I think this might be the easiest award of them all.
Yeah.
And speaking of easy awards, who is your guys' MVP?
I'm going to give it to Patrick Mahomes. I think he's going to have a great year this year. I think he's gonna put his numbers up there. Like I said, him and Kelsey are going to fucking click from day one. I don't think anybody can stop Patrick Mahomes this year. I think he knows, and he was finally voted number 1 in the NFL Top 100, and I think he knows, and he wants to prove everybody that he deserved that number 1, that he wasn't just given that number 1 because of who he is or because of who his coach is, who his team is, his teammates are. I think he wants to go out there and prove that that award was given to him because of his talent.
Yeah, I think the best player in the NFL with the best head coach in the NFL is destined to be with the on the team with the best record, and I'm supposing the best record in the NFL as the season goes on is going to win the MVP this year. And I don't think he's by far and away. If you look at the odds and the Vegas odds, it's not even close. It's a landslide that he's projected to win it. If everything goes as planned, if he stays healthy and he's Patrick Mahomes with this offense and what we expect from this team, I don't think there's anyone that even comes close to Patrick Mahomes winning the MVP this year. So, yes, it's Patrick Mahomes for me.
I have nothing else to add. Look, this is simple and plain. Despite having an inept offensive line last year and a tough-ass schedule, not only did the Chiefs go 14-1 in meaningful games, Patrick Mahomes put up his second-best quarterback rating of his career. He put up the second most touchdowns of his career, second fewest interceptions of his career, and the second most yards of his career. And again, did not play Week 17. They did not play against the Chargers. If he'd have played Week 17, he's more likely throwing 5,000 yards and 40-plus touchdowns. You know how many times that's happened in the history of the NFL? 3 times. And Patrick Mahomes is already one of those 3. He would have been 2 of the 4 times in NFL history. I think he has a 5,000-yard season this year. I think Patrick Mahomes throws over 40 touchdowns this year. And I think he throws less than 10 interceptions because he's going to be able to sit in that pocket and dictate and determine where he's going with the ball next. He's literally going to pick and choose which is the next touchdown. I think that Patrick Mahomes is going to have another historic season this year, and I think it's going to be an easy choice. No offense to anybody else, because I think Josh Allen, and I think that, like I said, I'm big on Chase Young this year. I just don't think at the end of the day you're going to look back and go, man, it was even that close. I think the Chiefs are going to have the best record in the NFL by a couple of games, and I think Patrick Mahomes is going to have the best season of any quarterback in the NFL. And we know this has pretty much become a quarterback award. He's going to be the best quarterback again. I know that I liked the whole disrespect that he was given over the last couple of years by finishing 4th in the NFL Top 100. That does matter to Patrick, by the way. Yeah. You saw how his face lit up when he got that number 1 thing on the NFL 100. He loved that. I liked that. I liked him having that edge of disrespect on his side, but now that he's been respected, you think that goes away. They just got worked in the Super Bowl. Yeah. That's his motivating factor. I think he's got another chip on his shoulder. He found something else to be upset about. That's what's going to drive Patrick Mahomes to get his another. And here's the other thing. Only 2 MVPs in the last 20-plus years have won the MVP and won the Super Bowl. I think he's that third. Patrick's known to break history, man, and make history. That's what he's going to do again this year and prolong the legacy, I think, as the greatest quarterback in the history of the NFL. So those are our predictions. The official NFL 2021 NFL predictions. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We'd love to hear you guys' feedback. I will be posting these on the Spoken and on our Twitter page as well on Thursday before the Buccaneers Cowboys game, so you can also read them and not just see them and hear them on the show as well. I'm going to post them on Thursday, early Thursday, for you guys to read those as well. We have one more order of business before we close up the show, guys. What's it called, guys? Hold this L. What we do each and every week is we finish up each and every episode with the series of L's in the world of sports. And whether they're friendly or not friendly in the world of sports, we promise you whoever is holding these L's deserve them. Eddie Ortiz, Mr. Yo-Yo-Yo, who's holding the L for you? Is it F1?
No, it's not F1. You know, I was really trying to figure out what my L was going to be today. I really didn't have one. But then I went into Twitter while on the show just to see if any sports news popped up or anything. It is international weekend, so all the soccer players all the leagues are stopped because there is international play. This tweet caught my attention. It is the prediction of a Super Bowl by none other than David Carr. His prediction Super Bowl is a Raiders versus Rams Super Bowl. And this is what it says. The Rams are so overcome with being the second team in as many years to play in a Super Bowl in their own stadium that they overlook the mighty Raiders. The Black Hole travels well and packs SoFi Stadium to help push John Gruden's group to a 35-24 win over the Rams.
God damn, dude.
I don't know what else to add to that.
Oh, he's been getting shit on all over the place.
Like, how? Why? What is his obsession with his brother? Like, do they have some kind of like? I don't know.
Don't you say it.
Don't cross that line, Eddie.
They're Christ-loving men. Don't you say it.
What else can push this man to pick the Raiders to win a Super
It's
Bowl?
just pure bias, man. That's just, yeah. We all know.
He's in the same hot take category as like Skip Bayless and guys like that. But the only reason why the only reason we don't talk about David Carr in the same realm as like Skip Bayless and people, because people don't really give a fuck about David Carr. Let's just be real. He was a failed quarterback in the NFL. He's not even the best,
He's a
most
handsome
talented
face for TV.
Yes, that's all it is. His attachment is his brother. That's what holds on. I guarantee you, the moment Derek Carr is no longer relevant in the NFL, which he barely is as it is, David Carr's contract all of a
He's
sudden going to come
almost as
up.
much of a failed analyst as he was as a player. So
Yeah, there you go.
So
Yeah.
for that reason, David Carr, I don't know what the fuck you're drinking. I don't know what the fuck you're smoking. I don't know what the fuck you're doing. You're gonna have to do me a favor and
Hold this L. Trevor Tweedwell, who's holding the L for you this week?
Mine's going to a guy that I've always revered, respected, and admired as an NBA player, ex-NBA player. Definitely a culture guy. Changed the culture of the game. He's known as the Worm. Dennis Rodman was on a podcast a couple days ago, just talking about they were asking how he felt about today's league and what his thoughts were on like how today's game is and so on and so on. I'm gonna play the clip here real quick though. Let me see. Hold on 1 second. And here we go.
Watching a lot of NBA nowadays?
Not really. Seriously, not really.
Why is it? Because
I don't know. It's just very hard to watch because once you play the game the way we played it, intensity, just competitiveness. But now it's more like I don't want to watch players coming down shooting 50-footers. That's not basketball. I mean, come on. I understand. You want to score like long range, but my God, it's just some excitement in the game. Like we used to do it. So. But it's difficult to watch. But a lot of kids
watching a lot of NBA.
I mean, here we have another example, man. Like he's had comments like this in the past, similar to, and honestly, most of those guys from that generation have the get off my lawn mentality when it comes to. Listen, I don't give a shit what any of these old guys say. We've never seen more talented NBA players than we are in today's age. We literally have old heads coming out here complaining that guys can hit shots from 50 feet, and that's a negative on today's game. That's a negative. The fact that Steph Curry can go, and LeBron and Dame, KD, all these guys can hit shots from the logo, and that's frowned upon. But these guys are that multifaceted in their game that they don't have to go through they don't have to go get punched in the face and get clotheslined in the paint and sacrifice their bodies and their careers and find a more efficient way to score more points in the smallest amount of time. That's a bad thing. That's bad for the league. It makes it harder to defend. So, I mean, the fact that players have gotten better at shooting, you don't want to watch the game anymore because of that. I don't want to watch guys come down and shoot from 50 feet. I'm sorry, that's what it is, man. There's players that can hit from that nowadays. Yeah. Like the guys in his era would never known how to defend that back in the day. It makes it more of a challenge not only for defensive players in today's game to defend that, And it also makes it, more. It gives more offensive players more to their bag, more to their trickery, more to what they have. It's not like everybody can hit that, but the players that do are definitely going to take advantage of it. This is what makes Steph great. This is why Steph changed the game single-handedly. This is what makes Damian Lillard so dangerous in the clutch moments. Because at any moment he can hit from anywhere. This is what makes KD so great. This is what makes LeBron so deadly. He can do everything, and he can hit from the logo. Damn it! How is that a negative to the game? How does that make you not want to watch? Because there's more to the game now? You don't want to watch now because it's not, everyone has to drive to the bucket and shoot 15-foot shots and live in the paint. No. The game is spread out. The game is far more talented. That's just, I don't understand that kind of thought, man. As a legend as he is, as a guy coming from that era, and his story alone is amazing from what he came from and overcame and who he was in the league. I get it, man. I get it. You have the right to say that and feel that way. But you can't make that a point and then try to flip that as a negative because players are better now. Because players can shoot better now and force defenders to have to step up and play them further out on the perimeter. That means the game's evolved in a good way, not a negative way. Maybe you need to start watching a little bit more and see what you're actually missing here. So for that, I just feel like that was a complete misfire on his thought process in my mind. Maybe he saw the history of drugs, it's finally catching up to him. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I still admire and respect him for who he is and what he did to the game. But Dennis Rodman, the Worm, my guy, do me a favor and
hold this L. Trevor and I are big-time movie buffs. I like pretty much all genres. One of my favorites is comedies, and I always have those that Rolodex of comedies I can always rely on to check out and watch, and they're very repeatable and they're very rewatchable. One of those is Accepted. And the reason why Accepted is one of my favorite comedies of all time is because it's about this school that wasn't real.
There we go with this
and how they fooled so many people to go to this school.
Oh, that's good.
And it's a great story, and it ends up being redemptive. And I don't want to give it away for anybody that hasn't seen it. I would just totally recommend watching it. I think it's on Netflix now. Yeah, that happened in real life this time. And I'm not even giving the L to this fake school. I'm giving this L to ESPN. ESPN, the mothership, as Dan Patrick loves to call them, is the mothership of all sporting news, right? For now, still. Decided to allow this school by the name of Bishop Sycamore play against a prestigious top 5 school in the country, a high school team by the name of Duncanville, a team out of Texas, to play this team. And I'm not going to go into specifics because I hope everybody knows it. If you don't, there's plenty of links out there to provide you with it. But just in a nutshell, this is a made-up school that had grown men in their 30s playing on this roster against high school kids, which I was surprised is not a felony or not a crime or anything.
I'm sure they did their due diligence.
Yeah. And ESPN aired this on their national radio or national airwaves. And they dig deep into this. And as people were digging deep into this team in late August after this game happened, they found out that they had 2 listed addresses for this school. One appears to be a fucking duplex, and the other one is a library at Franklin University in Columbus.
Oh, so good.
And ESPN aired this. By the time the first quarter was over, they were down 30-0, and they had 2 guys tear their ACLs. One of the guys worked at a CVS. They let this happen, and I felt so bad for their commentators because they had no actual information on any of the players. They had a guess on everything till finally in the second quarter, the commentators started turning on their own network and that team at Bishop Sycamore, saying, "Yeah, we really wish we'd have been vetted on this whole situation." I mean, there's video of this. This was on ESPN. This happened.
So good.
Outside of Manti Te'o making up a dead girlfriend, this is one of the craziest stories in the history of sports. I can't believe this happened. Justin Long from Accepted would be very happy this took place. He should be
welcome to shit.
Yeah, welcome to shit. South Harmon Institute of Technology, motherfuckers. Yeah. It happened. It's based on true events now, even though that movie came out 15 years ago. So ESPN, you guys have already been taking all kinds of L's with competition problems and streaming problems on your ESPN Plus app and firing all your actual journalists and letting all your loudmouths reside. You guys got to do a solid for me and take one of the biggest L's you've ever had in your life, because I swear to God, since 1979, you've never had a more embarrassing situation in your history. Do me a favor and hold this L. Fuck, that was terrible. How does he...
Dude, that story was so good, man. At first, I didn't know where you're going with that movie reference, but that's good stuff.
I always have something to, work it back around. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed this episode. I'm sure it's one of our longest episodes to date, but man, we like to get into detail. It's our 3rd annual prediction show, man. What else are we supposed to do? Give you guys half-ass content?
Yeah.
We're here to provide you with full-fledged content, man. That's what we're here to do.
We'll take donations.
It's been an absolute blast, man, and we're so excited to get this finally out there. I'm sure my predictions are going to ruffle the feathers out there. But hey, Trevor and Eddie have the Rams going with Matt Stafford. I'm sure a lot of you guys like to shit on him. So there we go.
We didn't discuss this prior.
We did not talk about this one bit. The only thing I said is, hey, just make sure you guys have your predictions ready, and that's all we talked about. That's how we like to keep this show fresh and real reactions to everything that we talk about, man. That's what it's about, giving you authentic, true, and genuine content. And that's what we like to do here. And that's what we have been doing for 132 episodes, and we're going to do that for 133 and 134 and moving on. So in that, I hope you guys enjoyed it. We're going to be putting that out there on paper on Thursday before the Bucs-Cowboys game. I cannot wait to talk about that one, get our predictions for that game as far as the score and who's the winner and all that. Guys, football's back. Football's back. Bishop Sycamore led the way. But in the meantime, for Trevor Twidwell, for Eddie Ortiz, for the great Clay Windler, for all of you motherfuckers that watch us, listen to us, podcast, YouTube, live stream, whatever it is, we thank you guys. I am Lance Twidwell. The Spoken Podcast, episode 132 is done. It's finished. It's finito. And until 133 is here next week, we're out of this bitch.
Later.